Let's go live. Maybe. Go let me. Let's go live. Let's go live. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Now it's finally showing us live. The faces and tweet to the birds. All right, we're shared out. First, before we start his stream that he started tonight, we're going to watch his take from his podcast on the 15th.
And so far this week's been great. Today on the show, I'll be honest, again, much like yesterday, I don't have too many particular topics that I want to talk about, except I do want to, in very general terms, talk about my initial opinion on the Fallout TV show, which I just finished last night with my wife. It's
Again, this video's from the 15th. He's waited 2 more days to do an official review. Instead of doing a video, for some reason, he's doing a live stream.
Eight episodes. Each episode just about an hour. Usually they're a little bit longer. And basically, wow. Let me put it this way. I have a lot to say, but the thing is, the only way you can really talk about this show in a way that will make more sense is to spoil, which I'm not going to do here on the podcast today whatsoever. I'm actually going to review the Fallout TV show this week, but basically by Wednesday night, like either tonight, tomorrow night, or Wednesday night when I have appropriate time. I'm going to sit down and do a formal review of the show for my DSP Reacts channel. Okay, so
Again, he's doing a 2-hour live stream to review this show instead of just doing a fucking video.
Since that is coming, I don't want to talk too much specifically about things on the show, but what I would like to do is generally talk about the show in just general terms without hitting on any specific plot points. That way, if you are going to watch the show yourself, which by the way, I will urge you to, man, it's a great show.
Snort.
This way you won't be spoiled at all. If you want to be spoiled, you can head over to DSP Reacts over the next few days, and I'll be reviewing it there more in depth. But I do want to talk generally about it today because, man, we finished it last night, and I was blown away. All right, so I'm not going to say anything else because I'm going to have a segment on the show about it. And, yeah, it should be a good time. All right, but outside of that, not a lot going on. I keep checking gaming news and stuff. There's really not a heck of a lot going on right now. So a more laid-back stream. We'll talk a little bit about how the React Day went yesterday and the schedule coming up. But for the most part, we're kind of open and free to do whatever today. If anyone wants to drive the discussion in any direction, great. Or we could do suggestion box, or we can do other stuff. I'm not sure. So I guess we shall see what happens over the course of today. Okay? All right, so
That's a lot of rambling to say absolutely fucking nothing, except that he's going to waste an entire stream reviewing the show. On his gaming channel, alright, maybe you can say it kind of makes sense, since Fallout TV show is based on a Fallout game. But he's going to waste an entire fucking stream. I have no money, guys. I don't have the money to do it. I need that money, I really do. I need to stream 6 days a week, twice a day, guys. By the way, I'm going to waste an entire stream reviewing a TV show. How much you want to bet after 30 minutes he'll have nothing else left to say? Or he'll probably have 1 or 2 reviews someone else made on his phone ready to go so he can read off of it and be like, no, guys, it's totally my original opinion. No, I'm not reading this off of Kotaku. I'm not reading off of anything, guys. That's what I'm expecting anyways. Now, let's switch over to the other one. Yeah, we'll turn that down. Ta-da! Raw fill, link down below. instead of giving DSP the view. I'm just wondering, how is he going to be able to drag out this whole stream if it's only going to be about Fallout? I don't think he can. I will and truly believe he'll get after about 30 minutes. Alright guys, well that's all I gotta say. Now I'm gonna play a video game. This is not a video game stream. This is talking to me and giving me money for it, guys. Now we're just stuck sitting here waiting in anticipation for him to actually start the stream. So while we wait for that,
Oh, what that aroma can do, brighter day for me and you. The best part of waking up is in your cup.
guy had a great nap today. All because it stormed. Like, no, if it's gonna storm, I ain't gonna have my shit on. Shut everything down. Well, now what? Kind of bored. Listen to music on my Echo and take a nap. That was incredible. Kind of woke up on my own. I was kind of happy about that after about 2 hours. Good 2 hours enough to get me up and ready to go. And now we sit here and wait in anticipation for DSP to actually get off his ass. Now, mind you, he's always, guys, I'm in my office an hour before every stream getting things set up. And yet nothing's ever set up in time. I wonder how that works. I gotta set everything up, guys. By the way, nothing's actually fucking set up. At least this music's not bad. I wonder who made it for him. Because obviously he didn't make it. Wait, no, this is Raw Phil. I wonder who he got it from. Probably pay someone on Fiverr because it's Raw Phil, not DSP. This song is actually really nice. It's calming and gentle. I like it. I want to add it in my own repertoire. Figure out where he got it from. I had to message him on Twitter or something. Where did you get this awesome song? It is so good. Mind you, DSP is supposed to start at 9:45. It is now 9:48. He works from home. Late to his own streams. Congratulations, DSP, to be late to your own fucking streaming from your home. Come on, dude. I was on time. I really want him to have to get a real job. And then come on stream a couple days later. Hey, fire me just because I was late. The first 4 shifts. I'm not used to working, guys. I mean, used to working a real job. I'm not used to having to get up and go to work. So, of course, I was late for the first, 4 shifts in my shift, guys. I mean, I'm just now getting used to working again. They should know that. They should know I haven't worked a real job in 15 years. That would be his complaint. They told me I couldn't just go to the bathroom. I had to wait till my break. Bullshit. When I ran my own business, I could go to the bathroom anytime I wanted. What happened to your business? It went under. Womp womp. Come on, DSP. Get to your own fucking stream. Lee, how's it going? Dad, why what? What's up? Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Coyotes are going to Salt Lake City, aren't they? Change the name to the Soakers. Salt Lake Soakers. I want that so badly. Please change your name to the Salt Lake Soakers. Want to make the Coyotes great again. Change the name to Salt Lake Soakers. Making fun of the Mormons. Terrible. Seagulls? Ah, oh, come on! Soakers is right there. Montgomery and I have not. Guess there's something special about it other than just being in Montgomery, though. Holy shit, DSP, wake the fuck up. We afternoon gin passing out. So it's called Montgomery Inn, but it's based in Cincinnati. Huh. I don't know if I've ever actually stayed in Cincinnati for anything. I've always just passed through to go somewhere else. Whether it was in Nashville or Florida or something. Yeah, that river's a shit show lately because of all the construction on it. Like, hey, this truck's gonna be late because the bridge that was supposed to be open today actually got shut down today, and the other bridge is gonna be open to get across. And they didn't think to tell anyone ahead of time. What the fuck were you guys thinking? And obviously, they weren't thinking. I like Cleveland. Been there a few times. Especially recently, like past 2-3 years, been going a lot. Just because, like, hey, there's a lot in Cleveland I haven't done yet. Or, like, they had that museum with the dinosaurs. Like, oh, I'm going to see me some dinosaurs. Always take a chance to go see dinosaurs. Curioso shop I went to that had all the cool stuff in it. Holy fuck, he still hasn't... He's not even in his chat yet. Like, he's not even in his chat yet. What the fuck, DSP? Get off your ass and get into work. We want to point and laugh at you. Ooh, I do like spicy mustard. Aren't the Guardians, like, doing really good this year? Undefeated at home and all that? Oh, that was a couple days ago last heard that. I'm gonna laugh at changing the name to the Guardians to get some World Series. Yeah, that's what I saw. I was like, oh, it was the last time they had this record, they won the World Series, but it was like, no, 1940 something. Man, if you gotta go back to 1940 something and be like, oh, hey, the last time we had this record, we won the World Series. Like, yeah, but how many games did you play in 1947 or whatever it was? I also like that the Lions and the Pistons had the same amount of wins. The difference was the Pistons played an extra 62 games. Detroit Pistons played 62 more games than the Detroit Lions had the same amount of wins. Like, how humiliating. I would just end the franchise there. Like, you know what? There's no more Detroit Pistons. Jake Hudson, how's it going? Holy shit. Come on, DSP, start the goddamn stream. I see you in chat now. Yeah, I forgot he's not gonna be under DSP Reacts, not DSP Gaming. Looking for a different name. Sorry about that. So I was watching Scum's Wish, finally finished it. One thing I noticed about High Dive is Crunchyroll, when there's like text and a text message or whatever, it will translate it into English. High Dive doesn't seem to do that. High Dive is like, yeah, that'd take extra, we're not doing that. I wonder if I've ever actually watched Star Trek. Guys, that show's too progressive for me. I can't watch that. Holy fuck, DSP, we saw you in chat. Start the fucking stream. It's 10 o'clock already. Mr. Professional Gamer, this is his job. The OG Line Voltron, nice. That's one thing I annoyed by is that I've never been really able to get into like mecha shows, and I don't know why. Although I did hear that Witch from Mars was fucking fantastic, so I did put that on my wish list. Like everything I heard about it is really fucking good. It's like, man, I don't like mecha shows, but Witch from Mars is supposed to be really fucking good. Actually was. The OGs. So I'm almost done with my, because I googled like 10 weirdest animes. I'm almost done with the list now. What do I do once I get with the list done? I had to find something new to watch. Apparently I was gonna keep playing this over and over and over again. Well, at least Dark Day Mirror plays good music. Oh, that's awesome. It's amazing some of the actors they used to get to do, like, voice acting and stuff. Hello, I'm a very serious actor. I'm gonna play a robot that transforms. Which, hey, I mean, a paycheck's a paycheck, right? Shaw, how's it going? DSP's in his chat, he's just refusing to start the fucking stream. Probably because he knows he doesn't have a 2-hour review to do. He's gonna have a 30-minute review, then be sitting there, guys, anyone want to give me a bunch of money to sit here and do nothing? Beast Wars was so much better. Beast Wars was, always way better. No shame in liking Beast Wars over OG. Chat just gotta sit there and deal with this, I guess. That's what they pay him for, right? To not start the fucking stream. Can you imagine if Ninja just went like, alright guys, I'm gonna be playing some Fortnite today. 3 hours later, alright, finally booted up the game. Where the fuck were you, Ninja? Shut up! I'll ban you if you point out I was gone for 3 hours. I'm supposed to be playing the game. We're behind, aren't we?
How it's going to go tonight. I hope it
There we
goes
go.
well, and I hope that people enjoy this. At the same time, it is an experiment.
I almost forgot to turn the volume back up.
So good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Shall I appear on stream now, or should I stay behind the curtain?
Luis, how's it going?
Oh, that's not correct. That was not what I... That's not what I wanted to do. Here we go. That's what I wanted to do. Hello, everyone. Good evening. For the record, we're not starting yet. This is just me chatting with you guys for a little bit before we start.
So he's still not gonna fucking start.
How's everyone tonight? Welcome to
He
those
is
who
still
are here.
not
There
going
are
to
100
fucking
people
start.
here and climbing. I'll be honest with everyone.
going to sit and chat and do
know how
nothing.
many people will show up. Reason being, since this is a very specific piece of content for a specific audience. For example, let's be honest. If you haven't seen the show, you probably don't want to be here tonight. Right? I don't know how many people we're going to have. You know, it seems like a lot of people are in the midst of watching the Fallout show but haven't finished it yet.
So why are you doing this review
Full
today?
clarification, yeah, there's going to be major spoilers tonight. We're talking all the plot points tonight.
Why not do
Okay,
this next week?
We're talking all the plot points of the show tonight, including character arcs, lore, the ending, which is a huge part of it. The ending of season 1 is epically cool, and I can't wait to talk about that. How this show is going to change Fallout in general, because it exists now and is really the last piece of Fallout. Well, the piece of Fallout we're going to get for a long time. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight. You know, not only am I going to summarize the show, but I'm also going to give you my thoughts and opinions on everything there. And I'm sure you guys are going to talk back and forth with me. We're going to have questions. You know, who's everyone's favorite character? Why? What didn't you like? What did you like about the show? What did you think about the world, the presentation?
Tell me you guys' opinion so I can
effects?
agree with that opinion or not.
All right, we have a lot to talk about. And that's why we have a whole night stream to do so. I figure in about a 2-hour stream, we should be able to cover everything. And basically say everything that I want to say about the show. So that way, it's all in one place for people to watch when they get a chance. You know, you don't have to watch this if you're not interested, but also you can wait until you've seen the show to watch this, right? If you have not seen the Fallout TV show, unless you really don't care about it or you don't have an intention of watching it, you're okay with being spoiled, you gotta leave. Because I'll tell you right now, you're gonna be monstrously spoiled tonight. That's why it says spoiler alert in the title of the stream. That's all we're doing tonight. We're talking about the show, okay? Walk Warrior, we're gonna go as far as it needs to talk about all the topics and things we want to talk about, and then depending on
Damn, he's already vibrating.
End, to
He's
hang out for a
just
little bit, we
hardcore
might,
vibrating.
That
It's
won't be part of what I
hilarious.
record. I'll stop the recording then. I haven't started recording yet, for the record.
He's not recording, so this is all on recording.
I haven't
Good
seen
to know,
it.
DSP.
I don't care about it being spoiled. All right, wait till you hear. If you're a fan of Fallout, when you hear what happened in the show, you're gonna be like, holy shit, because the show starts off slow, and by the end of the season, it's like, what the hell? Like, holy crap, I can't believe they ended it like that, and it gets you so excited for the future. It really does.
Effing chat for Halo fans.
How's everyone tonight? You guys excited?
fans aren't getting
hang out and
anything
talk about
near as
Fallout?
good as
I am.
this.
We never do anything like this, right? We've never done just a specific stream dedicated to one kind of a show or subject matter. I've only done videos like this, but I've never done an actual stream with interaction. So I'm curious how it will go. Joe, no one has any idea what you're talking about, nor do we care. So if you're just going to repeat that in the chat ad nauseum, I'll just remove you now. So it's up to you if that's how you want to play it. Nobody knows what you're talking about, including me, and no one cares.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't think I'm pioneering anything. I'm pretty sure this happens on many other channels.
He's
It's just
saying,
the
are
first
you
time
going to
I'm doing
complain
it
about
on
the
mine.
skin color like
So-
you did in Last of Us, which he did.
So by the way, some shout outs already. Jordan gifted a membership, and that gifted
There's
membership went
guys,
to
I'm not
750,
racist.
so
I just
congrats
complain
for
about skin
750.
color characters.
Lucifer Soul re-upped his membership. Thank you, Lucifer Soul, for that. And Gabriel popping their 9-month membership notification saying, I'm not in the Fallout, but I'm here to chill. Hey, as long as you're okay with the spoilers, then you can chill. Excuse me. Score, I'm well aware of all of
Rocky
this. I'm well
and
aware of the
vibrating.
timeline. I'm well aware of when the show takes place. Don't worry. I educated myself tonight before this stream so I would know what I'm talking about and not sound like a jackass.
There's a
And
first.
this show is actually the latest part of Fallout lore. It's the latest thing in the timeline. So,
And how did you have to look it up? Why didn't you just know from watching the show? Telling you, man, he's totally reading someone else's. Like, this is definitely going to be someone else's review.
all right. So, by the way, guys,
that
it
he's
will be a live
reading.
interactive stream. So, even though I'll be talking a lot about the 3 plot threads, trying to summarize each one and talk about all the different stuff that happens in the show,
You still need
it's
to
very
tip me.
interactive. If contributions come in, I will shout them out. If questions pop up, I will likely
You
answer
still
them
need to
live.
tip him.
That's the kind of show it's going to be.
You're not
I will
forgetting,
have
you
a set,
still
like, a
need to
little bit of an
tip
agenda
him.
at the beginning, maybe the first 20 minutes or so, trying to just go through the plot itself, right? Because the plot itself is very interesting. 3 protagonists that you switch between and follow their stories. But then on top of that, I'm sure things are going to come up or whatever. So, Pistol Wheat says, can I spoil things at the start or do we save the juicy stuff for last? Well, I'm going to kind of generally just summarize the show to start. I'm going to say, here's what it is. There's 3 characters. Here's what each of their plots are. Here's how they intersect. And
No
here's where the
Netflix
plot
and chill
moves, and
there,
here's
huh?
how it ends. And then we can dissect each part with heavy spoilers and the like. So, what's my favorite show of all time? I don't think I have one. I don't work in absolutes. I never have.
How do you never have anything favorite? How have you gone this fucking long in life and you don't have a single fucking favorite in anything? Could it be hard to pick? Sure. Can you do like, I can't pick, so I'm going to do top 3? Sure. But to be, no, I don't have a favorite. No, shut up. Stop talking about favorites. Well, you should, DSP. I mean, there's still shows I go back and watch. Like, for some reason, I just love watching Seinfeld. Yeah, it's favorite game, WWE
The Fallout show
Champions.
is my
I love
favorite
it.
show of recent memory. Like, of anything I've seen, it's definitely my favorite show. Of like the last probably 5 years of anything I've watched. What kind of food do they eat? Basically, everything that's if they're in the vault, they eat everything that's preserved, right? It's all preserved food. You spam in a can, or crops that they actually grow down there in the vault with artificial light. If you're on the surface, you eat whatever. You're eating rad roach on a stick, man, right? You're eating whatever you can get. Yes, including The Boys. I like this better than The Boys. The Boys is good, but this is like, it's right up my alley because I like the
No,
games, and to
The
expand
Boys is
upon the lore
better.
and make that something new is so cool and special. That's why I really like the show.
That Bionic Bunny show?
By the way,
It's been
Let me just test
decades since I
something.
watched Reading Rainbow, so I have no idea about any of the episodes.
I don't remember which picture is which. Is this one? Ah, and it fits perfectly. Good. I wanted to see if it would fit with my head, and it does. So there you go. So I can actually bring that up.
Why
And
didn't
it
you
won't
test that
interfere, it won't
before the
overlay my
stream
head.
started?
So that's good.
Why wouldn't you
If
test
you
that
like this
before
concept
the
tonight, if
stream
you're here
started,
relaxing,
jackass?
enjoying, interacting, and having a good time. If you could support the channel, that would be outstanding. I'm looking to get more content for this channel. Right now, this channel is basically once a week a show called DSP versus the Internet, and that's it.
This
I
episode is
haven't
on
put
the
other
set
content
of
on the
stuff.
channel
Oh, that
regularly.
is awesome.
If this works as a format of a show, and people like it and show up and engage and support it, I likely will try to do more of these this year.
Support. That's all he cares
and,
about.
You know, we can expand upon it and figure out, do we just want to do TV shows? Do we want to do movies? Do we want to do video games? Is this a way, an interactive review of a video game, right? Oh, yeah, Chemical Goods, you got to leave if you don't want spoilers, dude. Seriously, don't even, as soon as I start recording in like 5-10 minutes, you got to get out of here, because it's right off the bat, I'm going to talk about spoilers.
Yes, it's all unrecorded.
It's like the first thing we're doing. It's, you know, no one can get in trouble for spoilers on this stream because it's assumed that you've seen the show or don't care. So, what are my overall thoughts on Fallout? Oh, it's terrible. Horrible series. Really awful. You know, just a hack series, just, you know, completely bad writing, terrible gameplay, awful. That's why I play them all as they come out, right? That's why I've done multiple playthroughs of most of them, you know, because it's garbage gameplay, garbage games, garbage story, garbage lore. Right.
I say, and all it would take is a single fucking click. Be like, all right, here's a picture, click. Hey, look at that, my head fits on there. Why would you wait till stream to test that?
I've been playing Fallout New Vegas to get ready to watch the show. Oh, cool. Wait, if you haven't seen the show, you should not be here. I'm serious. You guys are going to get spoiled, man.
For New Vegas. I get Todd Howard hates it because it was better
Jordan,
than anything he's ever created.
Do you think you should go back and watch game trailers to compare how they accurately portray the games? Oh, that's an interesting concept. Like, watch the trailer. Like, a game I've already played, go back and watch a trailer and see if the trailer is representative of what the game actually was after I've played it.
That'd be good with, like, Dead Island, because that
would definitely be interesting. I've never done anything like that before.
That trailer was incredible.
Is it representative of the game, or is it like
I still love the game, but that trailer was so much better.
Excuse me. Oh, yeah. The pre-order Fallout New Vegas came with a cool deck of cards and coins I still have. So it's like,
yeah, but the New Vegas actually fucking worked.
It came with the coin, right?
I was never actually able to beat New Vegas because it always crashed.
Every card was a character from the game. I think it had an art book. It came with a case. It was like a brown case. I remember all that stuff that came with it. It was a really neat package for someone who likes the game.
Oh, so annoying because I got
fucking platinum. That happened. We're talking about it. We talked about it this morning.
I got platinum.
On the podcast that it's a maybe. I would
Fallout
do it.
3.
People want it.
We have 3 weeks in May. Nothing
going on. Seriously.
Crash.
Start coming out in May.
Glitch.
And by the way, we are turboing through Elden Ring. We are getting through it way faster than I expected. Way faster. Today we beat the entire Blood Palace in an hour. I was like, what the hell? I never expected that. So, yeah, like, we'll see. If I end up finishing Elden Ring, then I think that Fallout 4 will definitely at least start it and see how it goes.
Why would you play another Fallout game?
There's a comic book in the collector's edition as well that sets up the story of the game. That's absolutely.
I love that he's gonna wait like 2 months after the TV show's over and be like, "All right, guys, 2 months ago the TV show came out, so now I'm gonna play this game." Wait a strike while the metal is ice fucking cold, dude.
Correct. I forgot about that. Yep. Back when they put effort into collector's editions, now it's just a bunch of DLC content that's digital that nobody wants, right? Or, oh, it's the season 1 content included with the game. Well, I could have just bought that anyway. I didn't need it to be in a collector's edition, right?
Really, mister? You spent like $30 extra to get costumes in Street Fighter?
Time you out right now.
He spent extra on costumes.
You're absolutely ridiculous.
For Street Fighter, but he's going to sit there and shit on other people paying for editions and all that. Now you're banning.
Hello, Mateo. Good evening. You tagged the wrong name. You tagged DSP Gaming. This is DSP Reacts.
Fans care so much about this, they don't know what channel
now if you get a collector's edition and you get a statue, like, usually the statue sucks, too. Like, the statues actually used to be pretty darn good. Now they're pretty bad. Like, they're, you know, I've seen a lot of these, and they're not very good. Like, Street Fighter 6 Collector's Edition. It's statues of Kimberly and Luke, the 2 characters that, like, you would never want a statue of. And they're not, you know, they're okay. It's hilarious, though. You can get that Collector's Edition now for, like, $50 or something. Because no one bought them. Like, they just did not sell at all. No one wants that shit. So, like, what the hell?
You wanted it,
and it was expensive, too. They were, like, almost $200, I think, when it was new. Now it's, like, way down. What's up? Yeah? You spelled my name wrong,
he's still vibrating. You think eventually his leg would get tired from all that bouncing, but it never does.
I had the Songbird statue from Bioshock Infinite Collector's Edition. I sold it. I sold it to a fan who wanted it. You're right. I bought two $100 copies of Street Fighter 6, and I regret it because, man, it was a scam. Just like all these expensive launch day versions of the games, it was a total scam. I thought, oh, I'm getting all this content. I'm gonna get all this all these tickets to buy outfits. You can't use any of them to buy outfits. They literally don't do that. They were worthless tickets. You still had to buy the outfits anyway. So I was like, man, I really ripped myself off there. That was dumb.
And you did it twice.
No, we haven't started the review yet. We have not started the review yet. We're just doing a little bit of a hangout before I begin. Again, I don't know how many people we're gonna get tonight. I don't know if we're gonna get that many because this is definitely a spoiler map.
I would love a isn't it Memphis where they had that giant glass Bass Pro Shop? Can you imagine seeing that, or Las Vegas having the, because when what was it when the Las Vegas game came out, they didn't have that giant pyramid, Lux pyramid built yet. So if you could be like, all right, we're in Memphis, but you can travel to the other games. Greg, how's it going? I think Fallout 5, they should be like, hey, you can go to New Vegas, you can go to California, you can go to the East Coast, you can travel. Because like in Fallout 4, you're able to go all over the place. You're able to cover thousands of acres between like the DLCs and all that, and taking underground passages. Why don't they do that with Fallout 5? Be like, hey, you want to go back to all these different places? You can. Although New Vegas would probably be a fucking crater because Todd Howard hates the fact that the best Fallout game ever was one he didn't make.
Massive spoiler stream, you know, and a lot of people probably don't want to be spoiled on the show, and they're going to watch this after the fact, perhaps.
Of course, that'd be a good idea. So Todd
The
Howard
show's
never
been out for a
fucking
while.
do
The show's
it.
been out for exactly 1 week. It's literally 1 week. It came out 6 p.m. last Wednesday. It's now 7 p.m. the Wednesday after. So, you know, it's an 8-episode run, and each episode is over an hour. So you're arguably, 8.5 to 9 hours to watch in a week. Not a lot of people have that much time. So I'm not surprised a lot of people haven't seen it yet.
Then why are you
Or some people have
doing
seen
this?
some of it, but haven't seen all
Why
of it. So
not
obviously you
wait
don't wanna
another fucking
have
week for
get
more people to
spoiled
watch
with
it?
3 out of 8
So
episodes,
more people
right?
show up and watch a review of it instead of getting spoiled.
I almost forgot something. Holy crap.
Oh no, Zelda pajama pants. The Zelda pajama pants have not been seen since he sharded.
Oh, wait. There it is. Never mind.
He apparently sharded himself live on stream,
It was behind me the whole
and
time.
the Zelda pajama pants have not been seen since.
I forgot. It was right behind me in the setup. I totally forgot. Cool thing, man. And
He gets to his office an hour before stream so he can set stuff up. Evidence that he doesn't do that.
It is not a Funko Pop. This is an actual Fallout official bobblehead. Okay, it is Vault 111, so it was to tie into Fallout 4, but it was distributed exclusively in loot crates. There was a Fallout themed loot crate that they came out with in 2015. Yeah, here it is. This is right on 2015, and that's when I was part of the loot crate partner program. So they sent me the Fallout crate, and it came with this exclusive bobblehead, and it's really cool. I love it. Little bobbles. So I'll show that off on the stream tonight.
He's still shaking.
No, I've not reviewed anything yet. Boy, if you ask me that again, I'm just going to time everybody else who's being stupid. No, I didn't review anything yet. We just started. We haven't even officially started yet. Sheesh.
We just started. We haven't
So I
officially
received
started.
a $15
Which is
tip
it?
from Dan the Man. Thank you so much, Dan the Man, for a $15 tip tonight. I appreciate that very, very much. First tip of the night. License for Soul also just did a very generous super chat, which I will shout out in a moment. But first, I have to find the tip.
Why would you super chat me, asshole? Just give me the money and tips
Cool,
so I can
did.
spend it right after stream, guys.
Thank you, Dan the Man. And then I just got a $50 super chat from License for Soul, who says, being lost in the Metro in Fallout 3 original run will always be hilarious to me. Yes, and keep in mind, the Fallout 3 original run remastered is releasing daily, well, every other day pretty much, on DSP Throwback. So every single day, you can actually watch a new part. Well, every other day, I should say, you can watch a new part. I'm actually curious. Let me take a look and see what's coming up. I haven't looked in a few days. Because usually I actually watch them and title them in batches. Let's see here.
Because that's still nothing to do with that channel. I don't know what's been uploaded yet, guys. So how would you not know? Oh, right,
Okay,
because your
so-
intern's doing all the fucking work on it. You have absolutely
Yes,
nothing
yesterday
with that
was
channel.
part 4 of Fallout 3. And now, tomorrow, I'm probably going to release the next part of Final Fantasy 13. And then, probably Friday will be part 5 of Fallout 3. I'm looking right now.
That
at the
money,
videos
he
that are
really
there
does,
ready for me to
Joseph.
watch and title. And there's one part each that I need to watch and title. So,
Hey, Toe Jam
I'll
is
be
a
working on
serious
that.
matter.
But yeah, that playthrough is going right now. The remastered playthrough of Fallout 3 is going live relatively frequently over on DSP Throwback. And I definitely recommend you give it a look. They massively improve the visuals, like massively.
They stole a lot of footage from other
Or
channels
Garboon
as
saying the
well.
spoiler alert gets cut off on mobile. Stupid mobile. Well, the thing is, if I put it first and you can't see that it's a Fallout stream, right? Here. I'll get rid of the word interactive. This is the problem with mobile, is that nothing fucking works on mobile properly. Here, Fallout TV show live review, huge spoiler alert. I'm doing that. There. It's frustrating, man, because I want people to know their spoilers, but they need to know it's a fucking Fallout review before they know their spoilers. You know what I mean?
I can't wait for his
Lady
review to
Charisma,
be
let's not get
exactly
into
like a
a Coastal
Kotaku
War here,
review.
please.
And be like, no, I
Lady
wasn't
Charisma
reading
says,
Kotaku
"This series
review.
in my mind,
This
West
is
Coast
my
Fallout is better
review.
content than East Coast
It's
Fallout.
just
You realize I used to live on the
coincidence
East
that it
Coast, and I
sounds
used to
just like the
move to West
Kotaku
Coast
review.
in Street Fighter. Dude, we can't have an East Coast West Coast rivalry, man. We can't bring that back. I live on the West Coast now too. Yes, I played Fallout Shelter for all of like a week, and I got so bored with it, I never played it again. It just was not very good in my opinion. It only starts off good like the first few hours, and then it gets so boring.
How much money did you spend on it, though?
Yes, License for Soul, that's kind of the idea. He says, I would love to hear you commentate throughout your original Fallout 3 run. Once the remastered playthrough is basically live on the channel, then I could do that. But we need to have the remastered playthrough live so that it's safe for me to comment on and everything. You know, gotta be sure it's visible, you know, understand what's being said. You know, it's in parts that I can play and look fine. You know what I mean? That's the point. Sometimes you might have to scrub music because parts are going to get blocked because of music. So we have to take care of that early. So yeah, we're working on that. And
we had to take care of that.
No,
your interns have to take care of that. Because you have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Based on the Red Dead playthrough, that means it would probably be about 44 to 46 parts. And right now we're 5 parts in, so it's going to take a while. Okay. But after a month or two,
it's going to be an hour stalling. Because he knows he doesn't have 2 hours worth of review.
Keep in mind, the original Fallout 3 playthrough is very limited. And what I mean by that is I skipped tons of the side content. When I played the game originally, I didn't have the guide, so I didn't know about most of the content, and I missed insane amounts. And then during the playthrough, people kept commenting on it saying, dude, you missed this plot line, you missed that plot line. I was like, I missed what? I didn't know that was even there. So I went and I bought the strategy guide, and then I was able to...
He doesn't use guides.
Do all the content.
If you're using guides, he'll ban you.
Like the Return to Fallout 3 playthrough or something like that, side content, is just as long as the main playthrough. The main playthrough is 22 hours, and the side content playthrough is like another 20 hours.
Don't you dare accuse him of using guides.
Oh, yeah, I know. I didn't understand the waypoints at all in Fallout 3. I got super lost and frustrated. I totally remember that.
June is still working on it, apparently.
Is everyone ready to begin? Can we assume this is going to be the
audience?
It's
be like
I think we have just under 200 people. I mean, I'm not upset. I didn't think we were going to get tons of live viewers because it's got to be people who don't care about being spoiled or already saw the show.
I was going to get upset over it, though, but I'm not
upset. I get the feeling that people will watch this over time, you know, as they watch the show themselves and then want to see a discussion about it, right? All right, cool. Ready? Ready to get started, everybody? Let's do it. Let's begin. I'm going to start recording. Here's what I'm going to do. Intro, summary of the show and each of its 3 protagonists and the journeys they go through. Kind of a discussion of the finale and how it ends. Okay, so tons of spoilers. And then essentially we can get into different discussions. We can talk about lore implications. We can talk about the Todd Howard controversy and what he's saying about it. Because what he's saying is pretty stupid, but we'll talk about that. We can talk about what's the best, what's the worst. Like, what did you like, what you did not like? I liked certain things and didn't like certain things about the show. And we can do all that stuff, okay? All right, so let's get started. Here we go.
I picked a bad day to
Hello,
quit
everyone,
sniffing glue.
and welcome to something special. I have completed
yes,
watching
he is just
the first season
now
of the Fallout
starting
TV
the
show
review.
on Prime Video. And being
it is
that
10:23.
I'm a
Supposed to start at
16-year-long YouTuber, and during the time that I've been a YouTuber, some of the biggest video game playthroughs that I've ever done were Fallout playthroughs. Starting with Fallout 3, then Fallout New Vegas, all of the DLCs for both, multiple runs of both, and then later on Fallout 4 and its expansion. And Fallout 76 for like 3 hours, and then I never played it again because it was so bad at launch. I consider myself a big fan of the series. I just never played the original 2 games, and I want to make that clear up front. As a gamer, I don't know the lore or the gameplay of Fallout 1 and 2. All right, let's get that right on the table so that people don't have any misconceptions. I'm not a super fan of Fallout that has studied every single plot point. But there's some of my best, most liked RPG playthroughs of all time. And when this show was announced, I was very stoked because, hey, taking the lore and the elements of the world and turning it from a video game into a TV show could be a really awesome thing. I watched the show, okay? Now, I'm just going to say this up front. I absolutely loved it. Each episode of the show is around an hour to an hour and a half long. Each one's like a mini movie, and very well done. On Prime Video, they release all the...
That's one thing I like about streaming. They don't have to be like, it's got to be 22 minutes. It's got to be 44 minutes. It's got to be this long. Got to be that long. If it's 47 minutes, 47 minutes. If it's an hour and 2 minutes, an hour and 2 minutes. I do like that about streaming.
Episodes all at once. So instead of spacing them out once a week like a lot of the other on-demand video services do, Prime just drops them all. So you can just binge watch if you want. And I watched it slowly over the course of a week with my wife. Some nights we would watch 1 episode. Some nights we would watch 2. And we finished it a few days ago. Today is actually exactly 1 week from the conclusion or from the launch of the show. It's actually now April 17th at 7 p.m. ish. and the show actually launched on April 10th at 6 p.m.-ish. So it's been a week. The way I'm doing this is I'm going to review the show for you guys. And what we're going to do is going to be the following order. Number one, I want to give you a summary of the show. So just to refresh your memory about what happened in it, the three major protagonists, the plot lines, and the journeys that they go through. I'm not going to hit upon every single detailed point of the show in my summary. I'm just going to tell you the general talking points of what happens during the show, including the finale. Yes, that means the entirety of these videos and this stream will be full of spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled on the Fallout television show, leave now and come back after you've already seen it. Do not stick around. You are absolutely going to be spoiled. Unless you just don't care about being spoiled, then by all means, keep watching. But huge spoiler alert, from this moment on, I'm going to be spoiling the show. Now, the cool thing about this is I don't just want to review the show, because if I did that, this could have been just a standalone video that's like 30 minutes long.
I want to waste your time by sitting here
this into a fun,
for an hour and a half rambling
on
about nothing.
And see what they have to think. Like, what's your favorite thing about the show? What did you really not like about the show? What about the lore?
You could do that
and
with
how the
comments.
lore of this show changes the lore of the Fallout games. Do you like it or dislike it? Do you think it's problematic? What about what Todd Howard is saying about the show, claiming that it's canon, when there's obvious things in the show that are not canon to the games? So we have a lot, I feel, to talk about, especially the ending. The ending itself is so epic and leading into something so cool that I can't wait to discuss it with all of you here live. All right, so I'm very excited about this, but it's funny, as excited as I am about the show and how happy I am that it exists and I liked it, there are people on the internet, no exaggeration, their entire internet existence, entire YouTube channels are based on Fallout lore. And these people are flipping out at the Fallout TV show because they're upset that this show changes the lore of the games. Imagine if your entire existence on YouTube has been making Fallout lore videos, and if Todd Howard is being truthful saying that this show is now canon, it means that all the lore that came before this show doesn't matter. Do you want to know why? Because this show is set 20 years in the future, past the events of New Vegas. It actually is the latest piece of Fallout. It's past all existing games. So this would set the precedent of everything before it. Can you imagine someone out there where all you do is make Fallout lore, and for years and years, all you do is that, and now basically in a flick of your finger, it's all erased. All the work you did means nothing because they're basically rewriting
just
the
like your
universe of the
existence.
show.
DSP means absolutely fucking nothing.
Freak it out, right? For me, I like this.
No, we can't move on, dude. We got to do this for another 10
I saw
minutes.
some of the changes in the show, and I was like, all right, that's not bad. That's interesting. That actually makes sense. But I could imagine these people who are these lore hounds going nuts, going freaking out, ripping their hair out of their heads because now everything they've done is meaningless. Anyway.
Just like DSP.
Let's get started, everyone. Pick up your Nuka-Cola and take a sip. Pull out your official Vault 111 bobbleheads. And let's get started with my live interactive review of the Prime Video Fallout TV series. Cool. All right, so let's talk. First of all, this show has 3 different protagonists, okay? And each one is coming from a completely different part of life, a completely different situation. And it's cool because they all take place at the same time.
And they're all like my story, guys. Every single one, I swear.
So it's cool to see different things like that happening.
I'm waiting for that
on the show.
I'm waiting for them to say
instead
it
of
was
just
just
being
like
focused
me,
around
Reee,
possibly
me.
only one person. I prefer to have more than one person as the protagonist. So let's talk about each one of them, I guess in order that they appear. So I believe the first character that you would see in the show would be Lucy. So she is a vault dweller of Vault 33. And again, as we know, this show actually takes place further in the timeline of anything else. So everything you know about vaults and everything is kind of like thrown for a loop. You think, oh, we already know about the vaults, right? What could they possibly tell us more about the vaults that we don't know? Actually, that's kind of the purpose of the show. Even though you might not know that at first, this show blows apart the lore of the Vault system and Vault-Tec as a company in a way you've never seen before. Okay? So Lucy is in Vault 33, living with her, her father, who is the overseer, who, by the way, is played by the main lead of Twin Peaks. Remember him? The guy who played the agent that was investigating the murders in Twin Peaks?
No.
Super cool to see him now in a new show as a lead, I
Purple
mean, he's
Tentacle
not a
Monster,
protagonist, but he's
terrible.
one of the lead supporting characters. That was super cool to see him back because I love him as an actor from Twin Peaks. And
I
to
mean,
see him
LTG
there,
has toys.
Cooper, that's right. That
He's
was
not
his
a
name on the show,
collector.
Cooper. Really cool.
As far as I know, LTG's not a
But I
collector.
mean, the Vault Dwellers are just an ensemble cast. It's people from all walks of life. But of course, the thing is, they are all basically like happy. Oh, everything's good. Everything's good in
Everything
the vault.
is awesome.
We rise our crops. We have our virtual life.
Everything
and we
is
can't wait that one day we'll go to the surface and all of
great.
that. And so everything's like happy-go-lucky, you know, unbeknownst to them that the surface is destroyed and everything's been messed up by nuclear war. To them, they're just, well, one day we can't wait. We'll go up there and we'll repopulate the planet. So basically Lucy's plot is she kind of like can't find her place in the vault. She's tried different jobs. She does a little bit of everything, but she's not very happy. All right. She's in her 20s, I guess, in the show. And being the, you know, the daughter of the overseer, they basically want her to kind of have a prominent role in the vault. And she really hasn't found anyone in Vault 33 as a match. Like, they even allude to that at one point. It was her and her cousin who were having like a romantic relationship. And of course, they realized they couldn't really do that. You know, that's, you know, it's stupid. So they need to find something for her to do. And I guess this is something
Divorce
that
from the
hasn't been
Raptors,
in
about to get
Fallout War before.
banned.
They decide that they're going to have an arranged match, an arranged marriage, which someone from a connected vault, Vault 32. Now, to my knowledge, I don't know because, again, I didn't play Fallout 1 and 2. But previously in the Fallout lore, there haven't been connected vaults, right? It's always been standalone vaults out there in the wasteland. And I think the lore is that Vault-Tec always has some insidious thing they're doing, experimenting on each vault with different things. You remember in New Vegas, there's the vault where they turned them all into plant people. And then there's other vaults where they turn into super mutants or mutations and things like that, right? So with Vault 32 and 33 connected, I guess the question is, what is the experiment? Is it a social experiment where they just exchange vault dwellers between the two? And it seems like that's the case because in the plot of the show, they say that every, you know, decade or two, they have an exchange. And in fact, Lucy's dad, the overseer, his name is Hank, by the way, the overseer Hank of Vault 33 actually was a transfer from Vault 32 many years ago. So it obviously works out that you can have people transfer over and you know, they adjust well and they become part of the society in Vault 33. So that's really the beginning of the story, is that there's going to be a big exchange and they go to have a big wedding. And so Lucy meets this guy who she's supposed to basically be romantically involved in through an arranged marriage.
Right.
And they have this big feast and everything. And then all hell breaks loose. Essentially what happens is the people they thought were vault dwellers from Vault 32 are not. They were fooled. These people actually are raiders. And they just destroy the whole vault, kill a bunch of people, kidnap Hank, and leave them all essentially for dead. So there's not many vault dwellers left after the intro of the show. Since they kidnapped Lucy's dad, Lucy decides she wants to go on a journey to go find it. Okay, now how on earth she's going to do this, it doesn't really make much sense. Like, there's no way. How are you going to find the dad? She doesn't have any way to track him. She has no idea where these raiders took her dad, right? She just decides she's going to go on a journey. It's kind of similar to the plot of Fallout 3, right? Where all hell breaks loose and the dad is, you know, leaves the vault. Liam Neeson, remember Liam Neeson plays the character? And you are the vault dweller who decides to go out into the wasteland looking for your dad. And that's kind of the plot of Fallout 3. So it definitely is a throwback to that. And that's Lucy. She's one of the main protagonist characters. Okay? The second protagonist character, his name is Maximus. And he is an up-and-coming trainee in the Brotherhood of Steel. And another thing that this show does
Yay, Brotherhood of Steel, the only good guys. I know they're not actually good guys, but I still call them good
from
guys.
An insider's perspective. If you remember in other previous games, you never actually played as a Brotherhood of Steel character.
That's right. Isn't there like nudity in the show?
You had to just kind of go in and see how the camps are set up and talk to them and get an understanding through lore of how they work. But you never got to actually see how the Brotherhood of Steel trains, what the levels of hierarchy are, how you advance. And this show massively explains all of that. So anyone who has been a fan up to this point of Fallout and you like the idea of the Brotherhood of Steel, this show is fascinating.
Well,
okay?
the idea of Brotherhood
so Maximus
of Steel
is essentially one of the trainees. He wants to eventually become a squire who's kind of the sidekick to one of the knights.
You do?
The knights are the guys that can be in the
nice.
power armor and go out and do the heavy missions in the wasteland. Now, for those who don't know, the Brotherhood of Steel are essentially a group that think that it's unsafe for technology to be unchecked out in the wasteland. They feel that they need to go out there and find all the tech and hoard it for themselves and determine what humanity should or shouldn't have access to. Okay? And
Well,
this has been a
humanity
running
had
plot
access
line
to
in
everything.
all the Fallout
They
games. That
destroyed all of
sometimes they go
life.
out there and they hoard things that would help humanity, but they don't think humanity knows enough to really have that responsibility. So some people like the Brotherhood because sometimes the Brotherhood do what they feel is just, and others hate the Brotherhood because they're like, man, the Brotherhood just comes and takes everything
It
and
sounds
doesn't
exactly
really
like
care
Philip
about
from
anyone
Money.
but themselves. So
Only
with
care
their
about
power
themselves.
armor, they're kind of
Gee,
hard
DSP
to argue
talking about
with.
yourself
They
again?
show up with these things run by these power cores. It's like walking tanks, and they just kind of tear stuff up, and there's not much that you can do to stop them. So in this show, you see this character Maximus, who is a trainee, and he's on the road to try to become a squire. You know, there's these evaluations that they have and things like that, and his backstory. All right, and this is where it gets really interesting for those of you who are fans of early Fallout games or Fallout New Vegas. He used to actually be, as a kid, part of the NCR. What is that? The New California Republic. So this is one of the groups, one of the factions in Fallout New Vegas
That no longer exists because
you
Todd
could either
Howard
side
hated
with or go
Fallout
against
Vegas.
and essentially they're a militaristic group that are looking to basically kind of be the goody two-shoes people in the region of California.
They're trying to
Vegas,
establish a
you know, that
new
whole West Coast
government,
area of the
try to
United
bring
States.
order back to
And
the
they
apocalypse.
are at odds and at neck and neck with Caesar's Legion, which is a whole different group. They're more barbarian, kind of very, very brutal. Like you know, they'll kill you for
Why does
nothing.
Todd
just
Howard
because
hate
they're
him so
listening
much?
to what their leader is saying. Their leader is actually named Caesar. So basically, that's the plot of New Vegas: is these two factions kind of going at it. So you find out in the lore of this right away. You find this out that when Maximus was a child, he was part of the NCR, and the NCR apparently were attacked by someone, and the Brotherhood showed up and rescued him, and since then he basically saw them as heroes. So that's why he
'Cause
joined
they are.
their group. That's why he wants to be part of this group and become a squire, and eventually he aspires to be one of the actual Brotherhood
I
knights.
say the Brotherhood
okay?
and NCR
So
could
his
never
plot begins where he's basically just training with the Brotherhood.
come to an
And,
agreement. They would have been unstoppable.
It's him and a bunch of others who are all kind of like at the bottom, and they're like almost hazing each other and treating each other badly. I mean, his first scene, he's getting the crap beat out of him by a bunch of other trainees. They're just beating the crap out of this guy. He's bleeding everywhere. All right. And by the way, I should say this show is incredibly gory, like way over the top gore, gory deaths, head explosions.
Turbo,
brain-
how's it going?
I-
Oh, we're all loving it. Uh-oh, until the whole stream crashes. What the fuck?
balls popping, like gross stuff, just like the games, but translating that from video game to the world of something realistic, because these are real people on the screen, it can be, you know, warning for the squeamish. You probably want to be a little careful about that, you know, if you're not okay with gore. Anyway, yes, Bloody Mess perk, exactly. Bloody Mess perk activated on this show for sure. So anyway, in a strange turn of events, the trainee, who also is basically kind of friends and comrades with Maximus, is selected to become a squire. A squire is the person who runs around as kind of the errand boy or person who backs up a knight. Now, I wasn't even aware of this relationship because in the video games, they never really explained it before. And I was like, what is a squire, right? They didn't really even show that. The knights usually are just out doing missions by themselves. But apparently, just like a medieval knight would have a squire who would go around and carry their equipment and help out the knight, well, so that the Brotherhood knights have the same thing.
That's pretty neat.
Maximus's friend gets
DSP
selected to
doesn't hate
be
it.
a squire, and there's a big celebration and everything. But then, one of the day or two before they're supposed to go out to do their squire duties, someone puts big, like really debilitating sharp razor blades inside of their boot. So they put their foot into the boot, and this is a gory scene. Their
Ooh,
whole
that
foot
sounds
gets
pretty
destroyed.
painful.
It's ripped apart. Now, obviously, you have a deformed foot. How are you going to be a squire, right? So now there's this big controversy. Who did it? Was it Maximus? Was it someone else? Since we are seeing from the perspective of Maximus, we know it wasn't him, but the Brotherhood suspect him and think that actually he's the one who did it. And they put him into a big interrogation about it. Did you do it or whatever? And basically, through a series of inspired quotes and sayings, basically what Maximus says is, listen, I would give my life for the Brotherhood. You guys gave me meaning. I didn't have meaning in my life. You rescued me from the disaster of the NCR being attacked, and I would get, I would gladly give my life for the Brotherhood because you guys already gave me a life. It's the only reason I'm alive. So during that answer, the person who's in charge of this faction of the Brotherhood, whatever this group is on the West Coast, because I don't know if they actually even give them a formal name. So it's one of the high guys. I don't know if he's called the Arbiter or whatever he is. He wears the robe. He was kind of the ruler scholar guy. basically he's won over by Maximus, and he says, all right, you know what? You're going to be the new squire. I don't think you did it, so we're going to make you the new squire in place of your friend who now can no longer
Well, of course
be
they
a
made
squire.
a new squire. That's why he's the main character.
And so, that's the story of Maximus. He's going to
Imagine that
become
the
a
main
squire,
character became
and he's going to
squire.
go out with a knight, and they get a mission. And the mission is thus. There is someone who has escaped the Enclave.
Thus.
Wait, what? The Enclave. You think about that, right? The Enclave was destroyed. If you've played the video games, you know that the Enclave doesn't exist anymore. In
So you
Fallout
thought.
3, I mean, the Enclave literally like blows up depending on your choices.
So
but
you
defeat
thought.
them at the end of Fallout 3. By Fallout New Vegas, basically the Enclave is done, and all you find are the remnants. Remember, you actually recruit the remnants of the Enclave, like 6 or 7 older people, and then they team up and they help you at the end of the game, because the Enclave is gone. They're defeated. They're just a relic of the past. So the fact that the Enclave exists in this show already seems to either be lore breaking or starting up some new plot line that we don't know if all we've done is play the video games. Okay? So anyway, there's a scientist who is working for the Enclave. This scientist made some kind of a groundbreaking discovery, and then he stole it. And they actually showed him.
Cocaine?
He's actually played by an actor. He's a
That'd be
character
a
actor. He's
discovery.
been in many shows before. I remember him as Linus in the Lost TV series from many, many years ago. But he actually escapes the Enclave with a dog that looks exactly like dog meat from the Fallout series. So I don't know if they were going for that or not, but man, it looks just like dog meat. And I don't think they ever even named the dog or called the dog dog meat in the show, but definitely looks like it. So he escapes with this dog and he's on the run. Well, guess what? Apparently everyone knows because the Brotherhood are aware of this guy, and they're going to send a knight out with Maximus as a squire to that knight to find this guy, retrieve him, and bring him back to the Brotherhood because they feel that he has a critical piece of technology.
Yeah, he's going to review
that
every
no
single
one
fucking episode like this
could
to
trust.
stretch out this
Like,
stream.
you can't leave that out with humanity, okay?
Guys, we only got
This
through half the
actually leads
show.
directly
I guess
into
we're going
the
to do
third
this
plot
again
line.
next week.
The third plot
Calling
line
you now,
is
he's gonna
of
have to
the
do
third
a
protagonist
two-parter
called
of this.
The Ghoul. The Ghoul is just that, a ghoul who is a bounty hunter. Now, the weird part about this is I think of all the lore that gets changed in this TV show from the games, I think that the ghouls get the biggest changes, okay? So right off the bat, let's be honest here. If every time you saw a ghoul, they talked like this in every single conversation, they had a raspy voice and you had to try to understand what they were saying, do you think that you would like listening to that for more than like 5-10 minutes? Some people, maybe it's not a big deal. Some people probably would be like, that's like nails on a chalkboard to me. So right off the bat, they changed the lore of the ghouls. They don't talk like this anymore. They just talk normal. Okay? But another key change that they did with the ghouls
God,
is
oh no, there's going to be a part
now
2 of this
in
stream.
the lore of the show, okay, the ghouls need to have some kind of a chem in their bodies to stop from turning feral. There are feral ghouls in the Fallout TV show. It's a critical part of the plot that you need to have a long, supply of these drugs. So you can constantly be inhaling them as chems, and that it stops you from turning feral. So 2 huge changes, all right, from the main games for ghouls, okay? So how is the ghoul introduced into the plot? He's buried in a casket, and he has these chems put into his body via IVs above the ground. Sure. 3 bounty hunters actually dig him up and awaken him to say there's a giant bounty out for this guy, and it's the picture of the same guy from the Enclave that the Brotherhood is after. And so apparently the word is on the street that this guy from the Enclave is a turncoat, and he has some critical piece of tech or something, and everyone's out to get it. Don't ask me how everyone knows. That's never really explained in the show. So these 3 guys wake him up.
Hey, don't insult
immediately
ghouls
the
like
ghoul
that.
just
They look
turns
way
on
better
him
than DSP
and
does.
murders them all. They're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's the introduction to one of our protagonists. He just, in cold blood, murders the 3 guys who just pulled him out of the ground. Holy crap. Well, if that's any indication of how this character is going to be in the show, it's going to be an interesting ride. So, from that point out, the ghoul is kind of out for himself. And I'll just say that of all of the
Out for himself, just like DSP.
characters in the show,
See,
the
this is
ghoul's
just like
probably
me.
one of the coolest. He's played by Walter Goggins. You've probably seen him in the show Justified or other shows that have like a Western theme to it. and he is great. Now, the thing is, he plays 2 roles. He plays the ghoul in the present day, but then he also plays himself in the past before the bomb.
So it's the same character.
Okay?
Just
And
flashback,
that's really
jackass.
neat to see that. I liked the fact that
Lean
there
in,
was
manual
2
band.
roles in one, because you get to learn about this guy and who he used to be, and his character arc is essentially how he changed from the past to the present. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure, further into the plot. So the ghoul is off, basically in search of this guy who, escaped the Enclave. Now, during the course of the show, all their paths intersect, all right? And there's various different things that happen. Sometimes they're at odds with each other and they fight each other. Sometimes they're helping each other, all right? What's funny is, for the first 4 episodes, 5 episodes maybe, no, I'd say probably the first 3 to 4 episodes, the whole goal of the show is to get the Enclave scientist and get the technology from him and take him somewhere, okay? But what ends up happening is, after about halfway into the show, the plot changes. It flips on its head. Because it's weird, because at first you think, oh, this is just going to be kind of a caper where they're all trying to get this guy, this Enclave scientist. And spoiler alert, by episode 3, the scientist can no longer walk, and therefore he says, I'm not going to make it, just chop my head off. Because what they want is actually encased back here in the back of my head. Okay. So, yeah,
Nifty.
they actually chop his head off, right? Like, okay,
It's not a review,
so now
it's
not about taking this
what's
Enclave
it
scientist
called?
somewhere. It's about bringing his head somewhere, his severed head.
Not
And
a
this head
review,
gets
fucking
gross. and
Synapses.
decays over the course of the series. It's really disgusting.
He's doing a
By the end of
synapses
the
of
show,
the
it's just a
show.
really gross, like falling apart head. Anyway, so everyone's fighting for the head, and that's really like the main plot. But then about halfway through the show, okay, everything kind of changes in one real crazy twist of fate. Maximus, who's squire now to a knight, becomes a knight because his knight gets killed. All right? We come to find out that a lot of these knights of the Brotherhood are actual just assholes. They're not super soldiers. They're not super intelligent. They're just grunts like everyone else doing their job. They just do what they're told. And in a real weird twist, after Maximus's knight gets attacked and he basically takes his armor off, his helmet off, he's played by Michael Rappaport. And I immediately recognized the guy,
different.
and I was like, that's an odd choice. And the reason I say that, for those who don't know, Michael Rappaport is a very controversial guy these days. He talks about politics a lot, and a lot of people don't like his takes publicly, what he says. So for the
Please, DSP, do DS Politics. The day DS Politics
as a
launches, the
character,
day
even as
DSP
a cameo,
is
because definitely was
done.
a cameo appearance. This wasn't some in-depth, big appearance. It was just, him being in the show randomly for like 5 minutes. It was a weird choice for me. Anyway, I was shocked that they put him in there. Anyway, he's an asshole. He's basically yelling at Maximus, oh, you're the reason I'm dying now. This mutant that attacked me, it's your fault. You should have stopped him or whatever. And don't you know what they do to squires who don't help their knights? They hang them they murder them, and they hang them, they burn them and stuff like that. So basically Maximus is listening to him, and he's like, why am I going to help this guy? This guy he's dying. Why am I going to help him when all he's doing is being a piece of crap? There's no way I'm going to chance that. So he literally just lets him die. He doesn't help him. Then when he's dead, he tosses him out of the power armor. He takes over the power armor. And in his mind, he thinks, well, if I can still find this Enclave guy, and if I can bring him to the Brotherhood, perhaps the Brotherhood will forgive the fact that the knight died under my watch and just say, hey, you did the job, and that's exactly what we want from a knight, and maybe they'll make me a knight. So that's kind of his plot, is he wants to redeem himself from the death of the knight he was helping by doing
This
the
is
job.
not a review, DSP. This is a synopsis.
Lucy, her plot originally is just so ridiculous. So she shows up at the first town in the game that's called Philly, spelled Filly. So it's not Philadelphia. Remember, this is the West Coast, okay? And the cool thing about this, man, the set design on this show is so good. First of all, the vaults look exactly like the vaults from the show. It's like to a T, or from the show, from the game. To a T, it's exactly what you would expect from the vaults. Like, if you were there in person, if they were real, that's exactly what it looks like, right? And then when she reaches the first city, it looks like Megaton. Like, I would say that's Megaton, or that's, what's the name of the town in Fallout 4 where they arrive? It's supposed to be like Red Sox Stadium, but it's like, it's a city. Like, that's exactly what this looks like, this town that she arrives at.
Not a single bit of
And
insight.
My God,
Just
it's
rambling about the
people
show, but
there,
not
they
any
all act
actual
like as
review.
if they were the citizens of a town
Guy
like
knows it's
that.
gonna be
You
a
talk
shit
to the
show.
vendor, and the vendor actually treats her really crappy because she's like, "Oh, you're a vault dweller for real? You want to know what people up here think of vault dwellers? We say, fuck the vault dwellers, because we think you're all just a bunch of rich people who hid from reality, and you think that one day you're going to come back to the surface to save us because we couldn't afford to live in the vaults. Well, screw you, right?" So while Lucy shows up at the town, it just so happens that the Enclave scientist shows up at the town. It just so happens that the ghoul shows up at the town, and now the ghoul sees the Enclave scientist and immediately says, I need to get that guy. He's my bounty. All right? At the same time, this vendor offers Lucy a contract to go with the Enclave scientist and take him to a safe place. All right? And the weirdest part about all this is that the place that she wants her to take the Enclave scientist is where the leader of the raiders is that raided her vault. What? I know. Basically, it gets crazy, very crazy, convoluted and intersecting. In truth, the plot actually gets way less complicated the further in you get. But for the first few episodes, it throws you for a loop. All right? So then ensues one of the coolest sequences I've ever seen in a TV show. If you are a fan of Fallout, okay, and you like VATS, you know what VATS is? It's that system by which you hit a bumper on your controller and the game just freezes and you can select a body part or a target on any enemy and you have a percentile chance to focus in on that body part and shoot it for extra damage. When you get a critical hit, you shoot the arm off or you blow their head up or the weapon falls out of their hand. So essentially, they try to recreate VATS in this shootout scene in the town. And they don't show it, but the gunplay looks exactly like it. So basically the ghoul is going to basically kill or take this scientist. Well, the vendor yells out, 1,000 caps to anyone who defends the scientist because, he's actually my bounty and I got to get him safe somewhere. So I'll pay everyone to defend him. So basically a whole bunch of people in the town run out with guns to fight the ghoul. And immediately the ghoul starts firing, and it's just like that. So it zooms in on his gun, it shows the bullet leave the chamber, go across the entire city street, go right into the guy's head, and his head explodes. And it's like, holy crap,
Nice.
It's like slow-mo VATS, like playing Fallout. And the whole sequence plays out like that, and it's super duper cool. For fans of the series, it's like an Easter egg. Like, wow, it's fan service that you had that in there. So it looks like the ghoul is not phased. This ghoul, he's basically near invincible. He's getting shot, he doesn't give a shit, because he's a ghoul. Ghouls just heal from that stuff. They don't feel pain. They don't really care. And it looks like he's going to get his way. And then all of a sudden, when it looks like the ghoul's about to win, Maximus cruises into town wearing the power armor, acting like a knight, basically trying to be like the knight in shining armor, saying, hey, stand down now. And they get into a big fight. And it's a really cool fight where Maximus and the ghoul fight for a good 5 minutes back and forth. In the meantime, they keep cutting back to Lucy and the scientist and the vendor talking and, okay, you guys got to get out of here. Get out to escape into the wasteland or whatever. And you got to get him to, the head of the raiders. And she tells her where the head of the raiders is. Like, she gets a tracker to go there. And incidentally, it ends up being, of all places, in California, in Hollywood. And later on, it's revealed it's actually the big observatory that they have at the top of the Hollywood Hills. I forget, is it not? I think it starts with a G. I forget what it is. It's Griffith Observatory. That's what it is. That's actually where her headquarters is. So basically, what happens is a big fight ensues, and the ghoul does beat Maximus by because Maximus doesn't really know how to use the power suit that well. So basically, outsmarts him and he tosses him out of the town. And now chaos, or I would say hijinks ensue. The scientist, like I said, he dies. Lucy ends up cutting his head off, and now the head is basically the package. But then the head ends up getting eaten by a mutant.
God awful.
Then the ghoul and Lucy try to fight the mutant.
And you got another hour and 15 minutes of this.
The head later on gets picked up again by Maximus, while Maximus gets a new squire. And the thing is, I could talk to you about the whole show, and I could be here for another 2 hours, all right? But basically, now, everyone's out in the wasteland. Everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's trying to get the head or not.
That's what you're supposed to be here for.
The key of the show,
isn't it?
I would say, and probably for me, some of the most interesting parts of the show are the flashbacks. Because they keep flashing back to pre-bombs and showing the setup of Vault Tech. And this is what's fascinating to me is that never before, I don't think in any game, have they thoroughly explored Vault-Tec. And you come to find out, Vault-Tec was a company that was not just researching vaults, but they were researching all kinds of things. How to preserve life, cryogenics. They were buying up other companies that had things like cold fusion power sources and stuff like that. Essentially, Vault-Tec wanted to kind of control the world, and they were actually conspiring with other companies to also control the world. There's this one scene where there's a meeting between Vault-Tec executives.
Guy, he's fucking drunk saying
the head of Robco. Hint, hint, if you don't know who the head of Robco is, he's a major character from Fallout New Vegas. And the head of other tech companies, like West Tech and other ones. And they're basically just plotting to control the world. Like, how do we stop this oncoming nuclear war that looks like it's going to happen with the rest of the world, and communists, essentially? And how do we benefit from it, right? So, so just like the other Fallout games, yes, corporations are a big evil in the plot of the Fallout TV show. And come to find out, before Walter Goggins became the Ghoul in modern day, he actually was an actor who 200 years in the past played a cowboy on TV. So it's funny because he played a fictional character. 200 years later, he's become a ghoul who essentially that's who he is. He's living the life of this crazy bandit cowboy now.
I don't know if you can find Vault-Tec's
HQ
in any of the
200
games.
years prior. And what a coincidence. Guess who his wife is? One of the high-up executives of Vault-Tec.
I got Platinum and Fallout 3.
So this is a running plot, too, that he's involved with Vault-Tec all along, and he knows all about
I like
these
Fallout 4,
people.
especially the amusement
What I'd like
park
to do
was
is just
great.
kind of fast forward, because I don't need to tell you the entire plot of everything. There's cold fusion involved in this. There's the NCR that basically got blown to bits. It's actually revealed during the course of the game that the NCR Shady Sands camp, that's basically supposed to be like their headquarters. That the New California Republic was blown to hell by a bomb. And they're all dead. And that's actually what Maximus is remembering from his childhood, is when that bomb dropped and his family and everyone from NCR was killed, but he was one of the lone survivors saved by the Brotherhood at the time. Okay? So with NCR gone, which is weird. Remember, this show takes place way later in the plot line from New Vegas. In New Vegas, you think maybe the NCR won. Remember, at the end of Fallout New Vegas, there's 3 factions. There's the NCR, there's Caesar's Legion, and there's Mr. House. And any of those factions can win at the end of the game based on your choices, or you can go for your own 4th ending, where essentially you power up a bunch of robots that used to work for Mr. House, the Yes Man ending, and it's kind of an ambiguous ending. You don't know what happens with that ending. Is it a good ending or a bad ending? Do the robots actually listen to you, the main character, or do they end up going sentient and doing whatever they want? You don't know. So there's no canon ending to New Vegas, okay? But this taking place after those events, okay? Shady Sands existed in New Vegas. So that means this entire show, the bombs that dropped at Shady Sands, all happened after
bad comedy can get a few laughs out of you.
And there is, at least in the show,
God, this is so fucking
there's
bad,
no
DSP.
more formal NCR. What ends up being revealed by the end of the show is that those bandits that attacked Vault 33 are actually the remnants of the NCR, because the NCR are out to stop Vault-Tec. Why? Well, now it's time for giant plot spoilers. Are you ready? I'm just going to spoil some of the biggest plot points right now to get them out of the way, because this leads us to the finale of the show, and then we can talk more about interaction. I want to hear everyone's opinions on what you like.
Interaction, i.e. tip me.
Lore changes and things like that. Okay. So the major plot dump of the Fallout TV show is thus. The entire apocalypse that is the stimulus for this lore, this universe to exist, is that Vault-Tec dropped the bombs themselves. Okay? Now, that has never been known before. We always thought that it really was a real world war, and that communists or whoever it was, the enemy of the United States, dropped the bombs and destroyed the country. And it's a good thing that Vault-Tec had their vaults up, so everyone ran inside, and that created the outside and inside worlds. But in this show, it's revealed it was the Vault-Tec people, the CEO, including, yes, Walter Goggins' wife, who orchestrated the whole thing. They felt that there were so many factions on planet Earth, and that they were never going to ever get along. They were always going to cause war. As they say, war never changes. So because of that, they, being rich and powerful and supposedly smarter than everybody else, they decided to orchestrate a world war by dropping bombs on their own country and making people run into these vaults. And then essentially later on, 200, 300 years later, let them out to repopulate the planet after the factions had all been destroyed. Now, I mean, how naive that Vault-Tec thought that no one would survive on the surface, that the bombs wouldn't change life as we know it and create.
I mean, nuclear weapons are pretty fucking powerful, dude.
Society, you know what I'm saying?
I was surprised that they thought nuclear weapons would wipe out all life.
Anyway, so now knowing that it was Vault-Tec that orchestrated the entire thing, okay, this changes everything. So the NCR are actually run, and this is what's never explained in the series, is one of the big plot holes that maybe will be explained in a future season. The NCR remnants, okay? Why is there NCR? Why are there only remnants? What happened in Shady Sands? Vault-Tec blew up the NCR. Why? Because NCR was actually getting so much power in the region. They were starting to expand out, and Vault-Tec was afraid that they were going to raid the vaults and basically ruin the entire thing. So they detected Shady Sands as the capital of NCR, and they bombed it to basically end the threat. Okay? Pretty messed up. So Vault-Tec not only created the apocalypse, then if anyone tries to get organized and save the planet on their own, bomb them too. Okay? Now you might say, well, wait a minute, how did they bomb them? Isn't this 200 years in the future? Yes, but get this, and this is the other running plot thread. All of the Vault-Tec executives are still alive. They're frozen in Vault 31, which is connected to Vault 32 and Vault 33. They've been frozen but alive all along, monitoring the vaults and monitoring the surface. They're slowly thawing each other out over time to run these vaults. And in fact, Hank, the overseer of Vault 33 that's kidnapped at the beginning of the series, is actually one of the executive assistants to the CEO of Vault-Tec, who's been thought out 200 years later to run one of the vaults. So yes, Lucy, who thinks she's innocent, actually is in the family of Vault-Tec. These evil people trying to basically control the entire planet, and she had never knew it.
She had no part of it, so she's still innocent.
Are the MCR remnants after
the Resident Evil movie flashbacks?
This Hank
that
character,
scene with the laser
why
grid thing was awesome.
Because they know who he is, and they know everything that's going on, and they're trying to basically stop it. They're anti-Vault-Tec, and the leader of the NCR remnants apparently is the same woman who 200 years earlier was trying to get a grassroots movement of people to basically stop what Vault-Tec was doing before the bombs ever dropped. And this is the weird part. So the Vault-Tec executives have been frozen for 200 years in a vault. They're slowly getting thawed out. It makes sense that some of them are now in the present day running the vaults or whatever. Why is this woman, who's the head of the NCR, I think her name was More Dever or something like that, why is she still alive? It's never explained that she was cryogenically frozen. If she was, how? Because she didn't work for Vault-Tec in the past. She was anti-Vault-Tec. So how the hell
could have been a hypocrite and gotten frozen
did she ever survive 200 years? It's not explained. Okay? One of the things,
I don't know if
is
part of Fallout mythos,
but it seems more like it's going to be something explained later on. Moldaver, that's her name? Moldaver. Okay.
Yeah, she could have been a hypocrite and gotten herself frozen.
Pretty crazy, that twist, all right? And so at the end of the show, this is one of the biggest, coolest climactic finales I've ever seen in my life.
Had a great nap earlier, so now I'm up late.
It felt to me like the final episode, episode 8, was essentially the end of an epic video game. Imagine you played a video game for 80 hours and everything showed up. You know what it reminded me of? The end of Fallout New Vegas, where all the factions of the show are coming together into a bunch of giant
DSP not being smart enough to connect the dots, imagine that.
The NCR remnants, led by Moldaver, at Griffith Observatory, are being attacked by the Brotherhood, who are now know that they have the head of the Enclave scientist, all right? So they're trying to get it. Lucy shows up, and Lucy is there because her dad's been kidnapped the whole show, and she thinks she's trying to rescue her dad until Moldaver tells her the whole story. Your dad's evil. He's an executive for Vault-Tec.
Yeah, I can't wait. And it's in Detroit. I'm tempted to go to Detroit.
That's not a guy that you should care about.
It's like a 2-hour drive.
That guy's trying to ruin everything for everyone, and that's why we kidnapped him.
But
okay? So now
I work at 6 o'clock in the
beans
morning
are
next
spilled for
day.
Lucy, and while all of that is going on, the Ghoul shows
be at
up.
Detroit that late.
Now the Ghoul has had a crazy plot arc. He started off as a bloodthirsty killer and a 100% mercenary at the beginning of the show. But midway through the show, he runs into Lucy, and he's using her as a way to find the head of the scientist. But what ends up happening is he almost dies. He runs out of his chemicals. And Lucy actually goes out of her way to get him more chemicals, and she saves his life despite the fact he's done
I'm
nothing
the Colonels. I'm
but
drafting
hurt her
Marvin
in the
Harrison
show.
Jr.
I mean, at one point, he
I
literally
ain't trading
cuts
that
her
away.
finger off. Okay? She doesn't care. She still goes back and does something nice for him and saves his life by giving him chems. So basically, that kind of almost gives him a turn of character. And he starts remembering his past.
A character
how
redemption arc.
things were before the war, how things were before the bombs dropped, how he found out that his wife was an executive of Vault-Tec who actually was responsible for destroying the planet. And by the end of the show, all he wants to basically do is get to the bottom of this. He wants to know what happened to my wife, what happened to my kid. Are they possibly still alive?
And if
somewhere,
Lucille
possibly
Ball was still
frozen
alive, I'd
with
love
the
to get her
other
on Hot
Vault-Tec people.
Ones.
And he wants
She'd
to
probably be
basically
the
stop
greatest guest
Vault-Tec.
ever on
So he
Hot
shows
Ones.
up at Griffith Observatory
she's
while
dead.
the Brotherhood are there trying to take it over, and he gets into a giant firefight with them and kills a bunch of them. He even knows how to take out the armor, the power armor, with one shot. So he's like insanely overpowered and invincible in the show, the ultimate badass. The final climactic scene all takes place in almost like the control room of the observatory. So Moldaver finally pulls this thing out of the Enclave scientist's head. What is it? It's cold fusion. It is an unlimited power source that just self-replicates and generates. It's the solution to the world's problems. And the thing is, Vault-Tec had that solution all along before they ever dropped the bombs, and they refused 100% to use it because they didn't want that to happen. They didn't want humanity to be better off. They wanted to be able to control humanity. So they actually bought off the company that had cold fusion and hid it as a project for 1,000,000 years. And then 200 years later, an Enclave scientist found that tech, reverse engineered it, and got cold fusion again. So all Moldaver, who looks like a villain the whole show, ever wanted to do was save the wasteland. She wanted to get cold fusion. She wanted to power up LA using cold fusion. So all the people have power again, empowering them and making them basically strong again. And she wanted to stop Vault-Tec, and that's why she kidnapped Hank at the beginning of the show. So a pretty interesting, crazy premise to the show. And so in this final scene, Lucy finds out that her dad is evil. The ghoul shows up and starts learning all this stuff about Lucy and her dad and Moldaver and who she is and all that. And amongst all this chaos, okay, somehow Hank escapes the cell he's locked in and gets into a suit of power armor. And a fight again ensues between the ghoul and him. And Moldaver, sadly, is killed during these final fights. And
They're clear.
I believe the ghoul gets knocked out. Lucy gets knocked out. And Hank escapes in the power armor suit. Okay? So what sucks about this is obviously Hank is where's he going, right? And basically where the show ends, a few key critical plot points happen. So number one, Lucy and the ghoul team up and leave together, which is crazy because previously they hated each other. Earlier in the show, they were, at odds and, looked like the ghoul might even kill Lucy. And now they're basically teaming up for a common goal. Lucy wants to follow her dad, stop him, and find out what the heck is really going on with Vault-Tec. Okay? The ghoul also wants to follow Hank because he wants to get to the bottom of what's really going on in the wasteland, and he also wants to find out where is his wife and child, what happened to the executives of Vault-Tec. Now, little does he know, possibly they're still frozen back in Vault 32, but they both collectively feel the only thing they can do is work together to track Hank and find him and then try to get their answers. So that's the epilogue of their quest line. Maximus shows up late, basically running into the room, but Moldaver is dying, and explains to him everything going on, basically. That cold fusion works, and she turns it on, and now all of LA gets powered, okay? But then, as basically Moldaver's dying, all right, all the rest of the Brotherhood run into the room, and they credit Maximus with killing Moldaver, and now he basically is a hero of the Brotherhood. So he went from being the lowest of the low dirt to a squire who then probably was going to be executed by the Brotherhood because his knight died.
We're not going to hear a review.
And then he impersonated the knight
and
failed
part 2
at getting
stream.
back, the technology. And by the end of the show, he's now basically going to be like the prime knight. Everyone's worshiping this guy as the guy who killed Moldaver. And by the way, the Brotherhood now has power over cold fusion, which is crazy. So look at the implications of that. The Brotherhood, who's trying to hoard all technology, just got their hands on the most powerful technology ever, infinite power, in the wasteland when no one else has power. Holy crap, right? Lastly, and there are other plot threads as well. For example, Lucy has a brother, and he never leaves the vault, so he's always like a subplot. And his plot is that he suspects that things are going awry in the vault. He discovers himself by hacking consoles, again, an Easter egg that references the games. He actually discovers that this whole thing's been run by Vault-Tec, that Vault-Tec executives are the ones in charge of the vault and always thaw themselves out and then go and become the overseer. And he even opens up Vault 31 and finds one of those little robo-brain things that is like an infinitely preserved brain running things. The problem is the brain locks him in Vault 31, and now he's stuck in there indefinitely because he found out the truth. He actually finds all the frozen executives in this Vault 31, and that, you know, they're going to be thought out little by little over time. But as he discovers all this, he gets locked in there indefinitely, and now we don't know what's going to happen with him. Obviously, we'll get more about that in season 2. The big finale. And this is where finally I could stop summarizing the plot, and we can talk about other things. Finally.
How about the fucking
The
review?
big finale. It shows Hank in the power armor.
How about you get to the
And
fucking
he's walking
review?
away from the sun. The sun's behind him. And then the camera goes behind him and shows what he's looking at. And he's looking at New Vegas. And basically the ghoul kind of says in a voiceover line, he's like, basically Hank is heading to whoever's like behind the whole thing. Now, I had mentioned earlier, there is a flashback scene where it shows all the companies together talking about controlling the world. Vault-Tec is on one side, but on the other side is Robco. Does anyone remember who's the head of Robco? Someone by the name of Mr. House, who happens to run New Vegas. So in the lore of the Fallout TV show, New Vegas has not been destroyed. New Vegas has not been overrun by the NCR or Caesar's Legion. Apparently, Mr. House won. In the lore of the show, Mr. House was successful at the end of the New Vegas story, and now he runs New Vegas indefinitely.
That's awesome, man.
And so
I'd love to be
Hank
the head of
apparently
Robco.
was working for him all along. So Vault-Tec and Robco and all these companies conspired and are working together to control the world. And since the plot with the vaults fall apart, Hank is now going in the power armor to New Vegas to meet with Mr. House. And that's when the show ends. What a crazy show, right? Now, of course, I skipped a ton. And I'm going to talk about things I liked and didn't like.
I say,
and
but
I'm
is
sure
it
we're gonna be
good if
talking
you're
about
not a
lore and
Fallout
plot
fan?
holes
If
and
you've
all
never
of
played the
that over
Fallout
next hour
games,
or
could
so.
you watch it?
But
Wesley,
in general,
how's it going?
that show was probably the best adaptation of anything I've ever seen. All right? Why? Why do I feel that that's the case? Because they decided to make the show after the events of all the games. What that means is it gives them freedom to create new characters, new plot
Oh yeah,
lines, new
everything's
threads.
better than Halo.
Nothing
That
is
TV show
already
did
known
nothing for
because
the
it
series.
takes place in the future. It's not a prequel. If it were a prequel, I'd be like, it's not that big of a deal. But because it advances the lore of Fallout as something taking place in the future, now everything's at stake because you don't know what's going to happen, right? The problem with shows like The Last of Us or Halo is that they basically are trying to take the core elements of the show or the games and turn it into a show. But if you already played The Last of Us, you generally know what's going to happen in the show, right? You know that in the Halo show, Master Chief's not going to die. He's the protagonist of the series, right? But when you're watching the Fallout show, you have no clue what's going to happen. There's characters that I thought would be there the whole season. They died in episode 2, you know? And that's really cool. They didn't try to just frame for frame create the game. They did try to recreate some of the technology, the locations, and things like that. But they tried to make a show that stood out by itself first and foremost, and then worried about tying it into the lore of Fallout, and it works. It really, really does. It keeps you on the edge of your seat.
TV
It
series.
keeps you excited. It keeps you
So this
happy.
Last of Us
Like,
TV
I
series
can't wait to
is
see
literally
what's
just
happening
The Last of
next,
Us
right? I'm
game.
just so pumped for the rest of the
live
next
action.
episode or whatever. And when you see that final
Which
episode,
they should have done a
and you
completely different
see
fucking
New
story.
Vegas in the background, and you're like, oh my God, they did it. So Fallout Season 2 is essentially going to be Fallout New Vegas 2, which is what everyone wants. Everyone wants more Fallout gameplay content. Everyone wants more lore regarding New Vegas. Because at the end of New Vegas, you don't know how the game ends. There's different endings. Did you side with Mr. House? Did you side with Yes Man? Did the NCR win? Or did Caesar's Legion win? Well, now we know. NCR didn't win because they got blown the hell up. Caesar's Legion didn't win because they're nowhere to be found. So it's either one of two. Mr. House or Yes Man. However, if Hank is heading towards New Vegas, why would he be running towards Yes Man? Right? he's going to head towards someone who he knows is still there, he has contact with, and who is behind the whole thing. So it sounds to me like this is making canon that the Mr. House ending of New Vegas is the lore canon ending, and that's where they're going with season 2. Can you imagine if season 2 of this show is all set in New Vegas and we get to see all the faction, we get to see the kings, and we get to see the Omertas, and we get to see the ones that are the gourmands that eat people, the cannibal people. What are they called? The white mask or white glove society or something like that. And they're all at odds, right? And you get interactions of all these different factions, and Mr. House is in play, right? All that's, you know how cool that would be? Like, that's insanely cool. And the thing is, it'll be set 20, 30 years after the events of New Vegas. So things might have changed. There might be references to the New Vegas plot lines, but things have changed. Maybe the different people are in charge of the gangs, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it has massive potential to be a humongous hit, both for fans of Fallout and people who just like the show in general.
He played 76 for like an hour,
this
then
show
he quit.
set the stage for something even more epic than the first season of the show. It's perfect. Like, that's what I want from a show like this. I don't want to watch a show like The Last of Us where everything is trying to be frame for frame recreated from the show, and that's the good part.
From the game,
but there's never anything interesting because you already know what happened because you saw the game already. You played it, and then the times when they try to change it, it's not that good, right? The few times they tried to interject a whole new episode that's about side characters or whatever, it's just kind of killing time. Can we get back to the main characters? That's what it feels like. In this totally 100% is so refreshing. And so much attention to detail, to
This
put all
chat
the
is nothing
different
but
kinds of
Nightbot. What the
food
fuck?
and
Nightbot,
environmental
Nightbot.
stuff that it feels like you're
Mario
living
the
a
God.
Red
Nightbot,
Rocket
Nightbot.
gas station that
Holy
looks
shit, how's my
exactly like
chat
the Red
more
Rocket
busy
gas
than
station for
his?
Fallout 4. They put so much effort, painstaking effort. You can tell when you were watching the Fallout TV show that the people who made this show love Fallout. Okay? In fact, you know, what's his name? Jonathan Nolan, I believe, the director, who did Westworld, who worked on Interstellar, previously worked on the Dark Knight trilogy. This guy knows his stuff. You know he researched it. There's no way that he just, I'm going to make it my own now and change everything. No, he wanted to lovingly recreate the universe for an audience that already loves it, but he also wanted to find a way to introduce it to new people. How do you do that? Make it so that the plot line is something fresh and new for everyone, and it interests everyone. Did you know the character who plays Lucy, the actress, who plays Lucy? So when she got cast in the role, they said to her, do you want to just learn the lines or do you want to research? She says, no, I want to research. And they gave her the game. She says, I want to play all these games. And she sat there and she played all the games to understand them. And then she put that into her role. And it shows because she cared about the source material. This wasn't just a role for her to make money. This was something that she ended up immersing herself in and caring about. And it really feels like the whole cast was in on that. Like, they understood this is our chance to take a video game universe and actually make it something vibrant and alive and meaningful for people who love this lore and people who love these existing IP, to make it be recreated faithfully. Not, oh, this is just the Halo show, but we literally changed 98% of the source material, so, you know, it's for a new audience. Yeah, but it sucks. It disappoints everyone who's played any Halo game up to now.
That Halo show fucked up everything.
So that's what's great about
like Fallout games
show,
are getting a lot more plays on Steam
for about
and stuff.
A freaking hour summarizing
Last
the show.
of Us has gotten a lot more play.
General thoughts
since the show came out, and Halo show comes out, and no one plays more Halo.
I hope you enjoyed. What I'm going to do right now is
Pathetic.
split this as part 1, and we're going to do a part 2. And part 2 is going to be way different because in part 2, rather than me just talking about what happens in the show and summarizing it, I want to talk about what I liked and didn't like. I want to talk directly with my live audience about what they think. Did they like it? Did they not like it? What, you know, big lore. Because here's the thing. This show changes some critical lore in the universe. And some people are very upset. I told you, YouTubers out there, oh my God, the lore has changed. No, this is a lore error. We got to talk about this because Todd Howard, with what he said about the show, basically has caused this big problem. All right, so we're going to tackle that in hour 2. But for now, I hope you enjoyed hour 1. Hope you liked the summary and my general thoughts about the show.
I said it's supposed to be a review. Where's the review?
I hope you come back for hour 2. If you're here live on the stream, thanks. Because a lot of people were saying, yes, this is a summary. I said I was going to do that. I said there was going to be a summary first. And then we were going to get into the interactive part of the show, which is going to start pretty much right now. Thank you for watching up to this point. And now we're going to get into the interactive portion. I'll see you for that. in the next video.
Tip him or super chat him to get your questions
Okay.
answered about the show.
So I split the part, and I'm actually going to remove this
Unrecorded.
now. So now you don't have to stare at this anymore. And
Unrecorded.
I'm just going to stretch my legs for a second, everybody. And then we're going to basically do the second half, and the second half is going to be me telling you what I liked and don't like, and I'd like to hear from you now. All right, I want you to hear from you guys. Like, what are your favorite things about the show? What didn't you like? Like, who's your favorite character? What, do you have a favorite scene? What didn't you like? Do you have, like, nitpicks about the show you really don't like? Because I'm actually very interested about the lore implications. A lot of people are upset about the lore of the show changing the lore of the games. And like, what do you mean? There's a show and there's a game. Well, Todd Howard opened his big mouth and caused all these problems, and now we got to deal with this. Okay? Let me put my little Vault Boy back. Don't fall, Vault Boy. Okay, let me just stretch my legs for a second here. Phew.
What an amazing review. So far, there's been no review in it.
Okay, so now, by the way, now that I'm done summarizing the show, it's fully interactive again. If anyone contributes, I will do a live shout out right away. This is no longer me just blabbing and lecturing. This is now going to be just like a normal stream where we have a conversation about the show. Okay? So, we're going to change it. We're going to flip the formula now. Because I'm tired of talking, quite honestly. Talking for a straight hour is exhausting. Now I want to hear everyone
He's
else's
exhausted
thoughts.
from talking, guys. He almost died from that much talking.
Okay? Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my live review stream of the Fallout TV show. The whole first hour was me summarizing the show and its major plot points. Now,
Yeah,
this
so
is
far
gonna
there's
become
been
different,
actually
interactive.
zero review
Now it's
in
about
this review.
opinion. It's not just about recapping or what happened. Now it's about everyone's thoughts, including mine. So I'm going to actually start interacting with my audience now. Dark Maggot says, great show. I only watched up to episode 4 so far. I'm loving it. I had to mute the stream for the end. Yeah, you didn't want to be spoiled, obviously, on the end. And man, but Dark Maggot, just so you know, we are going to be talking big plot spoilers here. We are. I know people right now are going to be talking about the end of the show and stuff. All right? So definitely you might want to take off. You don't want to be spoiled tonight. Trust me. Pistol just did a super chat and says, I need season 2. I can't believe the next season is going to be going to New Vegas, and it's going to give it a canon ending. Oh my God, the ghoul is the Vault Boy. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the cool things in the show. They finally explained the origins of the Vault Boy. That Vault Boy actually was the ghoul when he was human as an actor doing a PR campaign for Vault-Tec, and he was the one who came up with the thumbs up pose to begin with.
Still waiting on that review there, DSP.
Mateo the God says, do you think we will see the Legion or maybe even more NCR? So, Caesar's Legion. Here's the thing. If this is to be canon, and first of all, we should address the elephant in the room. I'd like to answer Mateo, but let's address the elephant in the room.
Your
Todd
wife?
Howard came out in November and said the entire show is canon to Fallout lore. He did it again. They just interviewed him again, like the other day, and he said it again. He says, oh, I painstakingly worked with the crew so that it's 100% canon to Fallout lore. Todd Howard is a dirty liar, and we all know this. Everything that comes out of his life, everything that comes out of his mouth is a half-truth, right? He said a million things about Starfield that weren't true. When you finally play the game, you're like, wow, what a bunch of lies, right? That's who he is. He's the PR guy, the face of Bethesda. He's not to be believed, all right? Just in the first episode of the show, the ghoul doesn't talk like other ghouls. None of the ghouls talk like other ghouls anymore. That's a lore change. All the ghouls need chemicals to survive. That's a lore change. You've already changed 2 pieces of lore. That's not canon with the games. You lied, Todd. You see? What I think
as much as he lies, he sure
here's
hates
what's going to
liars.
happen, in my opinion, and you can disagree.
Only I'm
and I'd
allowed
love
to
hear your
lie,
thoughts about it.
guys. No one else
Okay?
is.
This show's going to take off. Guess why? Because there's no Fallout right now. We've got no Fallout game that's come out anytime recently. Fallout 76 is the most recent one, and that's an online live service game. The last offline story-based Fallout game is 9 years old. We have no Fallout content to consume, just old stuff. So what's going to happen is this show is now the new consumable canon of Fallout. And I think what's going to happen is likely
They said they're going to make Fallout
Season 1,
5
Season
after
2,
they finish
Season 3 are all
Skyrim
going to
or,
happen
I'm sorry,
before
Elder
another
Scrolls
game
6.
comes out. But these seasons are going to be what
expected
everyone
around
knows. So here's what's
2040.
going to happen. They're just going to change the lore in the games. And everyone's going to be like, oh no, why'd you do that? But that's what they're going to end up doing because people are going to love this show so much because they do right now. People are consuming this show and absolutely devouring it and loving it. They're going to love this so much. This is going to become the new canon. You know, I think this will override all of the games previous. So from now on, you're not going to hear ghouls that talk like this because now you want to get your voice. No, it's going to be normal talking from now on. And the ghouls are going to need their chems to stay alive. And you saw what I'm saying? So to answer Mateo the God's question, do you think we'll see the Legion? I don't know. Because the thing is, if the ending of the series is to be true, and Hank is heading towards New Vegas because apparently Mr. House is in cahoots with Vault-Tec and he needs to go see his boss, essentially, because everything went wrong, that means Mr. House is in control. Mr. House won. That means the Legion is at the very least, all right,
destroyed.
at the very least, subdued. Because remember, the whole Legion's plot was to take over New Vegas, to beat the NCR and all of that. That didn't happen. If New Vegas is still intact and Hank is heading towards New Vegas because Mr. House is still in charge, Legion lost. So I would almost think that maybe there'll be references or maybe, again, remnants of the Legion, but I don't think we're going to see the Legion in the full capacity that they were regarded or represented in the New Vegas game. I don't think so. As for more NCR, that's actually 100% one of the pieces of contention that everyone is saying is a problem because they're saying the NCR is not just Shady Sands. And in fact, they show a sign in the show that says Shady Sands population 35,000, right? But the thing is, apparently the NCR in the actual lore of Fallout is much bigger than 35,000 people. Maybe that's just their main settlement, but they should have had all different kinds of towns, cities, encampments all over the West Coast. So just because they blew up Shady Sands doesn't necessarily mean that's the end of the NCR. But season 1 kind of makes you feel that way. The big finale fight with Moldaver and the leftover NCR people feels to me like that's
NCR's
it.
fucked.
Like that's the end of the NCR. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe that's
as
a
he
trick. Maybe that's a
stated,
bait and switch, and all of a sudden the
Vault-Tec's
NCR will
making sure
show up
that
in
no
heavier
one
capacity later on in the
rises
show.
up.
I would say right now,
Yeah, there's no way NCR's gonna
anything's
live.
possible. Seriously, because we won't know until that first episode of
Oh, that's
season
getting
2
a
airs and we
pin.
see Hank running
That's
into Mr.
awesome,
House
Lee.
and see what happens there. That's when we're going to figure everything out. We don't know what the canon ending of New Vegas was, so that's what's going to confuse everybody. Okay? Dark Magus says most likely House defeated both the NCR and the Legion. Well, if you do the Mr. House ending, that is correct. In the Mr. House ending of New Vegas, he uses his upgraded, what are they called, Armatrons? His upgraded robot army. You upgrade them during the course of the game. You get the coin, you put it in the bunker, it upgrades the robot army, and then he uses his robot army to subdue both sides. Both the NCR and the Legion lay down their weapons, and Mr. House wins. He's in control of all of New Vegas, and essentially you work for him now. So you're kind of in there in that organization as the courier, but that's his ending. Securitrons, that's what they're called, Securitrons. Thank you, Pistol. So if that is the canon ending, yeah, maybe the Legion and NCR still were allowed to exist, but they were all under the control of Mr. House.
Showing your finger, like
Mateo
you
the
saw a
God
black
says it would be
person.
cool if they make some companions actual characters. What about Raul or Lily? Raul could be played by Danny Trejo. That's who he is in the games. They could do that for sure. Lily,
That'd be
See,
awesome.
that was one thing too. There's no super mutants in season 1 of Fallout. And I think, honestly, it's budget concerns. For example, there is one giant mutant monster in season 1 of Fallout. It's a huge mutated lizard amphibian creature. And you saw it in the trailer. You saw it everywhere. I'm going to be honest. Now, I'm going to tell you what I like and don't like
They
about the
don't,
show.
as far as I know.
I'm not into
Unfortunately,
CGI.
Wesley.
I'm not. I'm not a CGI guy. I think it could be done tastefully when done as more of a supplemental thing. I hate movies that are all CGI most of the time. I think the Fallout TV series does a great job of balancing practical effects with CGI. There is CGI, but it's not like over the top, blown up in your face constantly. Okay? That monster sucked. Like, I don't like that monster. Okay? That's the one mutated monster in the whole show. And every time that it was on screen, I thought it looked stupid. You know, it was trying to eat It was trying to eat Lucy. And I never believed it was really there. I was like, oh. And even later, in another vault, they show one of them floating in the background and like gelling. Oh, they brought that fucking thing back. I hate this. I just don't like that creature. You know, I liked everything
Does it
else
remind you
in
of
the
your
show.
wife?
That creature is like my pet
Oh.
peeve about the show, that they just had to have a big CGI monster mutant, and it didn't look good. You know, it looks good in the video game. It just doesn't look good.
Just reminds him of his wife too much. Womp, womp.
In the show. So here's the thing: super mutants. It's a critical part of Fallout lore, not present whatsoever in the show. You do hear a couple allusions to them. A couple people actually say super mutant and talk about super mutants in the dialogue, but never is there a real super mutant in the show. All right. So would I like to see super mutants in season 2? Sure. But if they're going the New Vegas route, not a lot of super mutants in New Vegas either, right? Like the super mutants, if you remember, in New Vegas, they're primarily focused on the super mutants that are using the stealth boys to go invisible, and then they lose their minds, right? Like if they have that drug or whatever that makes them go completely invisible, but then they're like losing their minds, they're going nuts. I forget what they're called, the Nightkin, right? So if that's the case, you know, maybe that'll be part of it, but there really isn't that much super mutant presence in New Vegas. So perhaps there could be.
What about
some
Death
super mutants,
Claws?
but I don't think they would be as prominent as if this was Fallout 3's plot. My God.
Where there are
they're
Death Claws? If
everywhere,
there's no Death
right?
Claws, there's no
It's
point in
even like
watching.
super ginormous super mutants, right? The huge ones. So, but no, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Pistol says it's confirmed season 2 of Fallout has been offered a $25 million tax
Up in
credit to stay in
smoke.
California. The budget is
That's
going to
where
be
my
bigger in season
money
2.
goes.
Cool. Very
in my
cool.
lungs. Sometimes up my
Mateo the God says
nose.
it would be cool if they
I haven't
add
thought
the
about
courier as a
Cheech and Chong
character.
in years.
It can also mean Benny in a whole new plot. They can meet Benny in a whole new plot line. Well, Benny should be dead no matter what. No matter what, it doesn't matter what choices you make. Doesn't the courier kill Benny or Benny get killed? Is there a situation where Benny survives in New
Still
Vegas? I don't remember
smoking,
that.
Still token.
He might. There might be a
Haven't
way to
worked
keep
9
him
to
alive.
5. I don't know
But I think
why
it's
I'm
really
alive,
hard to
still
do.
Smoking.
Like either you
Still
kill him
token.
or the Legion kills him. Someone kills him at some point, right? See, here's
Damn,
the
I
thing.
have
I don't know
Cheech and
how the
Chong songs
courier
stuck
would
in my
fit into
head.
the plot of the show.
and skits.
The courier is the protagonist
Eric,
of New
my
Vegas,
eye.
the game. But even the thought of the courier is kind of weird. Oh, so Mr. House needed to get this control chip to New Vegas, right? And instead of like putting this control chip into a regiment of armed troops or robots, he just hires a ton of couriers, each having a fake coin and one of them having the real one, all trying to go to New Vegas at once, thinking that that's somehow going to be better. I don't know if that's even makes sense. Does that even make sense? If you really want something to get there, you just hire a whole bunch of fucking people to defend it. You don't give it to a bunch of random people and have them transport it, right? And I think really the courier was just a plot device, honestly. That's why he never gets a real name. You make the name, but it doesn't matter. You're not voiced. You're the silent protagonist, right? I just think that that was the way to get you to be the main character of the game. I don't know if the courier is enough of an enthralling character that I want to see them in season 2 of the Fallout show. They were a means to an end. And now that the game is over, I don't know if I care about the courier ever again. It's kind of like, so the
You don't care
courier
about
walks
any of the
away,
characters you
bye-bye, you know, into the wasteland, and that's it. Or, you know, if the courier is following the main plot of New Vegas and the House ending, then that means the courier still works for House.
That could be
You know,
it.
he maybe
Ooh.
be one of the head ups there working for House, I think. But I don't know. I just don't know if that would work. Clay JT says you can kill Mr. House and be in control of them of yourself with Yes Man. That is correct. But there's 2 problems with that. Number 1, you don't know if Yes Man actually is trustworthy. The game ends on a kind of a big uncertainty. Will Yes Man do everything you say forever? Or are these machines actually becoming sentient? It almost feels like they are, but the game just ends and you don't really know what actually happens. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, if Hank, at the end of the season 1 of the show, is heading to New Vegas, do you think he'd just be heading to New Vegas and not knowing who's in charge? No, it's obvious, especially from that cutscene flashback where Mr. House was there talking with the executives of Vault-Tec. They made an agreement. House runs New Vegas. The backup plan was if the Vault plan isn't working or something goes awry, they'd go and they work with Mr. House. Now, they all are well aware of what's going on the surface. They have
How's
all
my
this
driving?
information. Hell, they
Dude, I think we're
bombed Shady
parked.
Sands when NCR was getting power. So it's not like they're in the dark. They know everything that's going on the surface through surveillance. So obviously, if New Vegas has been overrun by yes men robots, they're not going to go there. Why would Hank go there, right? So it sounds to me,
Well, he did get kidnapped.
100%, that this is the Mr. House's the
I
canon
may have
ending
not known what was
of-
going
of
on on
New
the
Vegas,
surface.
and that's why Hank would be going to New Vegas to run into Mr. House and tell him everything's gone awry at the vault. You know, the vault's still intact, but everything's gone awry. Now the Brotherhood have Cold Fusion, and NCR's gone, but now we got bigger problems. What do we do? Right? That's what I think is happening now. Well, of course they could change the courier's mission or story. Of course they can. But I mean, the whole point is that's supposed to be in the back, right? In the past, right?
Because they were the
Supposedly
funny
all
shit, Wesley.
The events of New Vegas have
I
already
was
happened.
born in East
20 years
LA.
before the events of the
Yes, I
show.
was
So that's all set in
born
stone.
in East
How you gonna, unless they
LA.
completely rewrite who the courier was or whatever, right? So anyway, what's funny when you're talking about this whole thing, you know,
And it's
Todd
so weird to
Howard
think that they're both
is
still
basically
alive.
saying
Like,
that this show is
as much
canon
as
now.
as
And
many
this is
drugs
causing
as
all
they
these
did back in
problems.
the
All these
day,
lore hounds
like holy shit,
on the
all
internet
the fucking drugs they
are
did back
going
in the day, they're
crazy
still alive and
talking
going
about the
strong.
discrepancies between the show and the games, and they're going nuts. No, this is an obvious lore error. It's a lore error. It's not a lore error. Todd Howard is your lore error because he's an idiot. There's no way that this show could be completely canon with the games because it changes things about the games right as the show starts. So this will be its own Fallout universe. Whether the games decide to change to become in line with this universe or these two universes will actually stay different, I wonder. That's a good question. But I find it hilarious because I really feel like these YouTubers are freaking out because this is their livelihood. For how many years they've just been making Fallout lore videos. And now, if you're telling me there's a new Fallout universe that erases all their
They
lore,
probably made more
and makes
than
it
just
irrelevant,
Fallout
it
videos,
means everything
DSP.
they've done on the internet is worthless. Overnight. Because of this show. So, lore error, not lore error. It's a show and a game are not the same. Doesn't matter what Todd Howard says. We know that he's a PR man, a front man who lies, you know? So we don't need to believe anything he says.
Show me on the dot where
I do
Todd
feel like
Howard
the show is
touched
well
you,
written and
DSP,
great.
because holy
I like
shit.
the lore of the show. I wouldn't mind if the lore of the show continued for 3, 4, 5 seasons. And then if they make a new Fallout game 10 years in the future, if they make it in line with the lore of the show and everything changes and it erases all the events of the previous games, so be it, right? Because really it's going to be popularity that determines it. It's not going to be a bunch of people on YouTube screaming about their lore videos. It's going to be who cares most in mainstream media about this show or about the games, and that's going to determine the choices they make, you know? So, oh my God, it couldn't have possibly happened like that because didn't you know that in 2271, there was a thing that happened with the NCR, the bombs couldn't have dropped. Shut up. No one cares. Really, no one cares. The show's
You care
great.
enough to be bitching
The
about
lore
it
of the
right
show is
now.
excellent, and if it changes some of the lore of the games, that's fine. Oh well, maybe you should have done something different.
care
and
enough
make lore
to
videos
bitch
for the
about
last
it.
5 years. Right? I don't know what else to say. It's just hilarious to see these people freaking out on Twitter and shit about it. It's like, oh my God, the lore. Like, shut the fuck up.
If you didn't care, then why are you
let's see
still
here.
bitching about it?
Which faction would I have gone with in the show? You mean in the in the show now? I mean, what factions are there? There's the
Brotherhood of Steel.
There's the remnants of the MCR, and I guess there's Vault Tech. Would those be the 3 remnants or the 3 factions? I mean, Vault Tech's
Brotherhood
just
of
fucking pure evil.
Steel.
It's just a bunch of rich people trying to control the planet. It's really vile. So I would say definitely, if anyone, that would be the one group I would definitely not go with. The NCR remnants run by Moldaver, as cutthroat as their methods are, they are well-intentioned. They want to free the wasteland. They want to give power to the people. A lot of people say they're communists, right? Well, are they? I don't know. I don't, you know, I really don't know if that's what they are. They're just
not
kind of
commies.
anti-corpo, right? Anti-establishment, anti these companies controlling everything. But again, their methods are crude. They break into the vault. They just start slaughtering people right at the beginning of the show, right from the get-go. So is that any better? You know, you're murdering people who are innocent. It's not their fault that they're in that vault. They didn't put themselves there. Some of them were born in that vault, right? So, I don't know. What was the third one I said? I said it was NCR, Vault Tech, or, the Brotherhood.
Brotherhood of Steel.
Man, the Brotherhood again. They're kind of like, sometimes you want to think that they're
Brotherhood of
really cool
Steel's the
and they have morals and
best.
everything. And then it's kind of exposed in this show that they are just kind of a joke, you know? Like you got the Michael Rappaport Knight.
Well, you
who
get
he
any
takes his helmet off, and the first thing he says, man, I hate this.
organization or
They always send us out to
group
find
and
technology and
fandom,
bullshit. One time I had to go
they all
off
go
on a
nuts.
mission just to find a toaster oven. and this is so stupid, and I hate all of it. It's like, so they're just normal people, and they act like they're all high and mighty, and they know better, and they really don't, right? You get these scribes who are like these hoarders of history and technology, and they keep it all for themselves, and they're not trying to help anyone. So what's better? Vault-Tech, who has all the technology, wants to control the planet and keeps it all for themselves, and literally kills and destroys everything around them to stay in power, all right? The Brotherhood, who think, well, we need to hoard all the technology for ourselves. No one should have it, so we'll just hoard it all for ourselves and kill anyone that gets in our way. Or the NCR, who just want to get all the technology and give it all out to everyone willy-nilly, but they also are brutal in their method. Like, there's literally, I think that's the point of Fallout. There isn't a faction that's good. They all see different perspectives on survival, but none of them are actually good. There is no black and white to it. There's no, this is the villain, this is the hero. I mean, in New Vegas, it was kind of the same. Caesar's Legion, NCR, or Mr. House.
Caesar's Legion was definitely the bad guys.
Because no matter what, the outcome ain't
Caesar's
great.
Legion.
Militaristic with NCR, brutal, you know, just chaotic murder with Caesar's Legion, or Mr. House corporate takeover, right? It's like, is there anything good there? I don't know if there's a single good choice in any of these factions. I think that's one of the coolest things about the Fallout universe, right? Pistols, I wish the Enclave was fleshed out more. That is a huge plot hole in the show. In the games, the Enclave doesn't exist anymore. It's clearly explained in Fallout New Vegas. The Enclave is done, and you're actually trying to pull the remnants of the Enclave out of retirement to help you in the big fight at Hoover Dam. But they're retired. There is no Enclave to fight anymore. So why on earth was there Enclave doing this research at the beginning of the show? How did they discover cold
because
fusion?
some of them still
They were
survive.
doing all this.
DSP. It's not
Like,
that hard to
who
figure
is this
out.
Enclave?
Some of them
Thought that they were
survive.
gone. So this is a new lore thing that's, you know, they're being reintroduced, right? How would I survive the wasteland? What would be my plan? I don't think there is a plan to survive the wasteland with current people. I don't think people would. We all live too much sheltered lives. We're too used to our modern conveniences. Most of us aren't even physically fit to survive out in the wasteland. We'd all die. Most of us, anyway. It would be freak luck.
Honestly, I don't want to survive the apocalypse. The day I wake up and I can't take a hot shower is the day I'm like, nope, I'm
all
out.
right.
Goodbye.
So I've said my piece. You know that I like the show. You know that I like the new lore. I hope that the new lore actually becomes canon, and I hope that they actually change the games to be in line with the games. I'll just say that right now. I hope the games actually change and become part of the show. I would love that. 100%. Okay? But what did you guys think of the show? Well, did you particularly like stuff? Did you hate stuff? Right? What do you think about the lore? Are there things that you did not like about the lore changes? I'm curious to hear all of your thoughts, okay?
As long as it agrees with what I said, or I'll ban you.
Okay. Clay JT, we already said that's one of the biggest plot holes that it's not explained yet. Is how did Moldaver live in the past? She was the person who was
Again, she could have been a hypocrite and had herself frozen.
Support to stop Vault-Tech.
Oh no, someone was a hypocrite.
And now she's
Imagine
still alive in the
that.
present. Never explained. I mean, you can assume she also was cryogenically frozen like the Vault-Tech executives, but how and where? Because she wasn't in the vault with them. So where did she come from? That we don't know yet. Yes, if I survived the bombs, I would still broadcast playthroughs over Pip-Boy Radio. Thank you, Michael Caine. Cypress TV says, to be fair, every game adds new lore. I feel like whether we're talking game or show, with every release, something is changed or added. I mean, that is true. For example, I have heard that there's been lore changes for one of the examples here. This is a minor example someone told me. I guess in Fallout 2, Jet was introduced to the game, and it was supposed to be the invention of a teenager trying to make a drug on the cheap, and he made it out of like dung, like fecal matter. So Jet is actually a drug made out of poop. Okay?
But that should be right up your alley, DSP.
That's all changed.
Surprised you're not already doing
like a professional pharmaceutical drug or something like that. So the lore has changed. That's a minor tweak. That's not like a major lore change. That's like a minor little tweak. But definitely some of the changes in the show are going to be giant changes, right? Pistol says, interesting how the show steered from Fallout 4 references or factions, Minutemen, Institute, and Synths Railroad. Yeah, but that's all East Coast. The whole idea of Fallout is that, you know, the whole country, the infrastructure's been destroyed. I mean, what are the chances that people in California would even know about that shit back on the East Coast? Very little, right? You know, Vault-Tec maybe knows all about it. As we said, Vault-Tec would know that as other factions and groups gain power, they want to keep them subjugated. That's why they nuked Shady Sands and killed all the NCR. Maybe they're either in, like, for example, the Institute. Maybe Vault-Tec's in cahoots with the Institute. You just don't know that yet. That's a plot point. Or maybe they're keeping tabs on the Institute, and one day if they get too much power, they're the next to go, right? So there you go. Oh, let's see here. Lady Charisma said the main Enclave was destroyed in 2. The Enclave you see in the later games are splintered remnants, if I recall my lore knowledge, so I might be wrong on that. See, I never played 1 or 2. I only played 3 forward, and in 3, if you remember, the Enclave are a major presence at odds with the Brotherhood. You infiltrate the Enclave, right?
But
you fight them directly, and then you get to see
one
who's
part
the
was
president of
destroyed,
the
not all of it,
Enclave.
from what I
It's a
understand.
freaking AI. It's a freaking AI. And you gotta either team up with him, or you go against him, or you can even use charisma checks to kind of mind screw him, and then he ends up killing himself and blowing up all the Enclave himself. But the Enclave have a pretty bad end, right? They get pretty much destroyed at the end of Fallout 3. They lose. So where this West Coast remnant group of Enclave are coming from, it's a new plot point. No, Super Chuffer says, wasn't the ending a cityscape of Seattle? I thought the Space Needle. That is the fake Space Needle that is in New Vegas. New Vegas has a tower that looks like the Space Needle. If you remember, real life Las Vegas has a fake Eiffel Tower, a fake Space Needle, like all the fake stuff. It's like all the landmarks recreated. They also have a Sphinx and a freaking pyramid too. So that's they're showing you the fake Space Needle. It's part of the New Vegas skyline.
I don't remember seeing the Lux Pyramid though in New Vegas.
Felix the Maid, we're not talking about things except Fallout. You're asking me questions, nothing about anime. We're not talking about anime tonight. This is the Fallout live review show. Thanks. Some people
Way to be nasty to your
wrong
audience.
Stream, bro. Okay, so again, I'm asking, like, what did you guys like? What didn't you like? What do you think about the lore changes? Do you have problems with any of the lore of the show? A lot of people on the internet seem to be very heated and adamant about this show, that it's either really good or it's really, really bad, right? It's one or the other. They're kind of polarized. I think most people are leaning towards good, but I've seen a lot of people get pretty upset about the changes, and I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are.
Tell me your thoughts with a super chat or
next
tip
gen update is
attached.
confirmed to add an Enclave quest. I thought it wasn't adding any content at all. I thought it was just adding graphical tweaks and improvements. I didn't hear that it's adding any of that kind of stuff, honestly. So I don't know if I believe that. I haven't seen that yet. Excuse me. Did my wife Kat like the show? She absolutely positively loved it. Now keep in mind, last year we watched Last of Us together, and it started off strong, and we thought the ending was atrociously bad with the changes they made, and it just wasn't nearly as good as the game. In this case, we feel like the show is as good as the Fallout games, if not on pace. If Season 2 ends up being New Vegas, I think that's super amazing. That's what people want.
New
right?
Vegas.
We want the continuation of these games from 10, 15 years ago that Bethesda refuses to make new games of. Instead, make Starfield that no one really wanted and it sucks. And then tell us, oh, well, Elder Scrolls is next, but we don't even have any gameplay.
DSP said Starfield was going to be game of the year across the board. No one's going to remember Baldur's Gate 3 once Starfield came out. It was all going to be about Starfield, Starfield, Starfield. Now, all of a sudden, guys, everyone knew Starfield was going to suck.
To show you, well, what are you doing? What? No, really, what are you doing? What is anyone at your game studio doing? Because it seems to be like you're completely inefficient at making games now. They released a super duper great show. Everyone wants to do Fallout content, and they're so incompetent, they don't have the ability to make any new Fallout content, right? So, I guess we'll have to see. No, I am being told it is true. Fallout 4 will be adding new DLC. Oh, crap. Now I kind of want to play it. We were talking about that this morning. If I should do another run of it, because I've only played it once ever. Clay JT says, shouldn't the ghoul have known the weak spot of the power armor when he was fighting Max in the first episode? Yes, except the problem there is that unlike at the end of the show, in the final episode, the ghoul is fighting the Brotherhood of Steel as they're trying to take over the NCR base at Griffith Observatory. He says, oh, there's a weak point. Watch this. And he shoots it. He couldn't do that to Max because Maximus just shows up and starts fighting him. Like whenever he flies in, and then immediately he goes right for him, and they start fighting. It's like the knight in shining armor showing up for the rescue. So it wasn't like the ghoul had the drop on them, or had the drop on Maximus, and was able to easily just pick off this weak point like he was. He got the drop on the Brotherhood. Remember, he surprised them. They didn't even know he was there. They turned around, and all of a sudden, surprise, boom, shoots him right in the weak spot. So that's the thing. He was already in motion. They were already fighting. I'm sure if Maximus was just standing around like an idiot doing nothing and not fighting him, then it would have been easy to shoot the weak spot. But, you know, I think that was the point, is that it was active combat. That's why it was such a cool scene. Super Chuffer says, I thought it was good. Each main character presents a different play style. Lucy is like a goodie. The ghoul is when you do the second run as a baddie. It was cool that you know, Lucy starts off. Each character has such an awesome character arc. Lucy starts off as so innocent.
What was your character arc,
right?
DSP?
Like okie dokie. And then by the end of the show, she's just so changed, right? But after she finds out the truth about her father, and she just completely changes his character, and she's like, that's it, I'm going with the ghoul. I mean, of all people to team up, she's teaming up with the guy who was trying to kill her and torturing her earlier in the show, and she's teaming up with the ghoul now to go after her father, right? She's a completely changed person. What a character arc. Let's see here.
DSP, we keep banning payloads, ain't gonna be anyone left to talk to.
Lady Christmas says, the change about Vault-Tec starting the war fits into the lore. I could totally see them doing that in the games. Me too. Felix the Maid says, I think all three main characters show no character progression. They're the same from episode 1 to 8. Then you didn't watch the show. Yeah, you totally didn't even watch the show at all.
Why so nasty, DSP?
Like, how can you even say that? At the beginning of the show, Maximus is like the biggest fan of the Brotherhood. He wants to be a knight. That's all he wants, right? Halfway through the show, he decides he doesn't even want to be with the Brotherhood anymore. He wants to move into a vault. By the end of the show, in a cruel twist of fate, he's forced back into the Brotherhood against his will, and now he becomes the hero of the Brotherhood that he wanted at the beginning of the show, but he's changed so much, he hates himself, and we're all wondering where this is going to lead in season 2, right? Like, what a crazy twist. That's
what a
huge
twist.
Character development. Cypress TV says, this is the quote on what's being added in the Fallout 4 stability improvements, and up to 60 frames per second, along with new content such as the Enclave Remnants quest line, makeshift weapon pack. Wow. So there is a new Enclave quest line in the Fallout 4. Huh. Bob from Pennsylvania did a super chat saying, I can't chat. Canon takes less than stellar, bro. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, you had to subscribe to the channel a day earlier. I announced this on all of my content that you needed to subscribe to the channel to talk tonight.
Because you're a bitch with 24-hour
Bob,
mode.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. I would love to hear your take on it. Like, what is your take on the lore and the changes?
Keep super chatting me. That's what he wants.
Good night, Dentronics. I received a $2 tip from an anonymous tipper. I don't think you get the full picture of how evil the Enclave is unless you play Fallout 2. Okay, I did not. They had actual human leadership. Their goal was to genocide all non-Enclave humans via a plague. Wow. Would you be interested in doing a reacting and playthroughs of 1 and 2 in the future?
5-year mode? Holy shit.
The problem
I didn't even know that was a thing, Declonius.
You play this massively outdated games. I mean, they're top-down point-and-click games, right? It's a shame, because you know me.
I'll say, you know this is never going to happen again if he doesn't hit the
classic games. That's a series I would love to hear the older lore, but I don't think that it would work as a playthrough, especially if they're, games that are going to take a while. I don't think so, It's kind of like maybe if I was around in the 90s playing that kind of stuff, but yeah. Do I think that they did a good job of creating ambiguity in the characters? Well, yeah. Like the ghoul, man. The ghoul, to me, is such a cool and enigmatic character. And then you get his backstory and you figure out who he really is. And he's really well written. Like, I mean, but the thing is, he's not a hero. He's 100% an anti-hero. He's a villain who just happens to be opposed to the other villains. So he ends up being good through his actions, even
insane.
though
like, how
he does
can you
some
imagine him in a
heinous
5
things during the show.
How do you expect to get new fans with a 5-year limit? Holy shit.
According to the lore, the Enclave is still hiding in an undisclosed location on the East Coast. Of course, they wouldn't be relevant on the West Coast. But then again, that might be what people are wondering. why was there a West Coast enclave that this scientist escaped from? Who is that? Like, has it ever existed? Remember, in New Vegas, they were trying to get the remnants of the enclave together to help at Hoover Dam, and it was so hard to get them together. They were few and far between. Why all of a sudden is now there an enclave presence out on the West Coast? It's so weird. Wouldn't they have known about that in New Vegas? Bethesda reset the West Coast. Todd has contempt for Obsidian Fallout. He wants to he wants to wank off the Brotherhood of Steel all the time. Well, I don't know about that, Mr. Video. I don't feel like this reset the West Coast. They're claiming
the Brotherhood of
that
Steel
Shady
pretty much
Sands
Space
is
Marines for
destroyed
Warhammer.
very shortly after the events of New Vegas. But it is still supposedly canon. Supposedly. Do I think a silent protagonist would have worked in the show? No. You need people to talk on shows. Being a silent protagonist would be incredibly boring.
I've seen it done well before. You can do a silent protagonist. You just have to do it
Lady
right.
Christmas is about the Fallout 4 run. Maybe wait a bit before starting. It's going to break the mods to the game. There's quality of life updates that would improve the gameplay. I don't know. I feel like if I don't play it during the update, no one's going to care. Like, if I wait a month, 2 months to play it, everyone's going to be like, what are you playing it for now? The Fallout show's old, right? I feel like right now...
Yeah,
is
but
when
you're known for
everyone's
doing that,
hyped.
DSP, so
Everyone's
it
going
wouldn't
to
be that
probably
big of a
start playing
surprise for you to
Fallout
do
4
that.
when the update comes. If I wait for mods, I mean, what's the point then? Good eating, Orange. Exactly, I agree there. John Bono says, Brotherhood of Steel come off as pretty weird and culty in the show, just like the West Coast Brotherhood has always been. Yeah, it's totally. They're like a cult, that you indoctrinated into their way of life, their hierarchy, right? It's almost like mind control to a point. You have to be all for the Brotherhood, right? I agree there.
Take a sip, you sleazy asshole.
Yeah, at least according to the show, what they would lead you to believe, which is uncertain, it seems like the NCR is all but gone. Like, it seems like they're almost all dead, and that Moldover group was the remnants of the NCR trying to survive. They were undercover. Like, you didn't know they were NCR at first. And they're just trying to survive. But what's weird again about that is, yeah, maybe Shady Sands, the capital, was destroyed. 35,000 people, but they had outposts everywhere.
That's a lot of people to lose, though.
Everything break down when Shady Sands got nuked. Like, literally the entire NCR just broke apart in chaotic fashion. Because they were a huge group. Even just in New Vegas, the game, there's tons of NCR outposts all throughout the map that are all separate camps and stuff, and they wouldn't have been affected by that. They could have still kept operating.
Yeah, you kill the leadership, though. Who's in charge now? Who's giving orders? Who's going to decide who to gives the orders to?
I don't know if you remember the Brotherhood of Steel outcasts in Fallout 3. Do you think they should bring them into the show? You're right, I don't remember that. I guess what you're saying is there's groups of the Brotherhood that were, excommunicated or whatever. I definitely don't remember that. So, should they bring them into the show? I mean, maybe. You don't know where they're going. All you know is it's going to be involving New Vegas in Season 2. That's the direction they're going, right?
And vibrate the entire fucking time. He has not stopped vibrating. His leg is still bouncing. What the fuck, DSP? How does your leg not get tired?
That's the Dead Sea in Fallout 4? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Orange says, Bethesda does this in their writing sometimes. They supposedly dropped an asteroid on Morrowind between Oblivion and Skyrim. It reminds me of that. So they just wiped out Morrowind in the lore and you never go back? Wow. High's Darkness says the NCR was the biggest faction. They literally beat the Brotherhood just because they had the sheer numbers.
So he needs to go back to Baldur's Gate,
yeah,
get that $100 a stream every stream.
I mean, once again, remember one of the big questions was, why did the Brotherhood have such a presence in the TV show? Because the Brotherhood were supposed to be mostly East Coast. And again, if you remember New Vegas, the Brotherhood were hiding out in underground bunkers. They weren't on the surface in any kind of a big capacity. Well, apparently, I guess because this nuke took out the NCR that Vault-Tec dropped on them, that's what allowed the Brotherhood to now step in and have a bigger foothold in the territory, right? AJT says, what year did the nuke happen? The board says 2277 was when Shady Sands was blown up, but New Vegas took years.
That's pretty crazy, Matthew.
4 years after that. I just read an article. Todd Howard literally says the nuke dropped right after the events of New Vegas. He says that word for word. They were interviewing him, and he says the nuke that destroyed Shady Sands dropped nearly right after the events of New Vegas. So maybe if it does say 2277 on a board in the background of the show, it may have been an error that they didn't mean to use that date and they got their dates wrong. But that's what Todd Howard said. Those are the words right out of his mouth. He was interviewed, and that's what he said. Cybers TV says, is it possible it's possible when Shady Sands got nuked, some of the NCR went undercover like Jedi when the Jedi Temple fell. No, that's what happened. That's what Moldaver's group is, right? Like, that's what we're led to believe, that Moldaver's group is undercover.
But if the Brotherhood of Steel get too powerful, wouldn't they be nuked?
Raiders and things that have
like
kind
they've
of joined
said
up
that, hey, if you get too powerful,
and they're the
Vault-Tec takes you out, so
for the people,
Brotherhood of Steel gets too powerful,
anti-Brotherhood for the people, right? I think that's what we're supposed to believe. If you didn't play Fallout 4 yet, would the show spoil the game? Absolutely not. Fallout 4 takes place on the other coast. And it's completely, like all the events of Fallout 4, the factions and things have pretty much nothing to do with the plot of this show at all. So, no, it would not spoil the events of Fallout 4 in any way. You could still play Fallout 4 if you watch the show. Super Chuffer says, I think we can make lore fit well if we give some leeway for modern retelling and we embrace this. It was a love letter to the game, so much was right. I agree. Again, I feel like the people who made this game love Fallout, have an affinity for the universe, and didn't want to fuck it up, right? They didn't want to just ruin it. Like the that Halo show is such dog shit. It may be an okay show on its own, right? But just don't call it Halo then. If you're going to take the source material and throw it on the ground and stomp it into fucking paste, and then like fucking Play-Doh, form it into something new for your own use, then don't call it Halo. Do something different. They didn't have to call it Halo, but no one would have watched their fucking shitty show if they didn't call it Halo. In this case, you can tell they had a love and affinity for the source material, and they wanted to do something awesome that people would embrace as a mainstream show, but would also really please the fans of the franchise. They did a great job of doing that. Does Caesar die in the house ending in New Vegas? Yes. Caesar dies in the house and Yes Man and NCR endings. In all three, you kill him, I believe. 2277 is 200 years exactly after the bombs dropped in the Great War, so it could be an error. Yeah, if really the writing on a freaking chalkboard is the one piece of contention in the series for a lore error, that I'm just going to say they chalk it up to they wrote the wrong date on the fucking chalkboard. If everything else makes sense, except the one date on a chalkboard, then fuck the chalkboard, right? Just forget it. It's not a big deal. Play JT says the Brotherhood Elder says they take their orders from the highest clerks from the Commonwealth. The Brotherhood destroying the Institute must be canon. I guess I would have to replay Fallout 4 to refresh my memory on that. The Commonwealth is East Coast, right? Mr. Video says the nukes dropped on the ghoul and his daughter on a day he had custody. Makes me think China beat them to dropping the bomb. Why?
Vibrate, 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 shake, 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 shake. Making his moves bounce.
Because the mother would want to be with the daughter? That doesn't make sense. When you say he had custody, they were still married. What are you talking about? At least, it's that I didn't know. Are they separated? When did they explain that? In the show, I don't remember them saying that him and his wife separated. Maybe they did, and I didn't catch on to that. I mean, even the flashback scenes.
Man,
in the
he's
final
still
episode
vibrating.
Him
DSP's been like, what, 2 hours?
Basically,
almost 2.5 hours, and you're still vibrating?
Who had the ideas to do these malicious things. Maybe they separated at that point. Carlos says NCR has like a 700K population. They beat both the Brotherhood and the Enclave into hiding in the West Coast. Their problem is since they have numbers, they fight multiple fronts and they can't hold everything. Do we really believe that if Shady Sands, which has a population of 35,000, was nuked, that would completely rout the entire NCR? Do you really believe that? If they're a giant militaristic
If you
group,
wipe out their leadership, who's giving the orders?
right? And they
Who
have all these
decides whose
different
orders to
outposts
follow?
and groups. Like, just because you nuked the main base does that really mean that everything would end?
Yep, he's talking all night. And hasn't even really given it a review yet. We're still waiting on that review.
Oh,
us somewhere
Pistol
in a
says in the
synopsis
beginning
of the show, but
episode,
nothing else.
at the birthday party, the guests asked each other why Coop, and that's the character of the ghoul. His name is Coop in the past before he becomes the ghoul. Why is he doing pony photo shoots? And they say alimony. Okay. And his daughter is with him that day. His daughter is with him at work that day. So yeah, okay, that's a plot point I missed. So he spied on his wife.
Paid too much attention to WWE champions.
He found out that she was one of the most malicious people on the planet, literally planning to possibly nuke the planet to create their own society, right? Of how they wanted it. And maybe he was so taken aback by that, he says, I have to divorce you now. That's what it was. I'm the Juggernaut just did a super chat. He says there's rumors Fallout 1 and 2 remake will be the first time released on a gaming platform system. I mean, if they're remade for a modern audience with modern controls and stuff, I'm all for it. Me just playing the old PC versions on my mini PC probably would not work, and people probably wouldn't care too much about that, right? Excuse me. Now listen to
Even
this.
with the filters, he's
a
still
dollar tip
overrides
from an
one of
anonymous
his third
tipper.
players and
People in
starts.
chat are misleading you about the Enclave on the West Coast. In Fallout 2, you got to go to San Francisco. The Enclave actually have a strong military presence there. They're basically scattered across the U.S., as well as offshore ships, subs, and satellites. They didn't all die at the end of Fallout 2, but it's likely one of those that they used to nuke Shady Sands that's the new lore with Bethesda is going with. I hear how Bethesda is changing the lore with this and the Fallout 4 update. Wow.
I've never played them, but I've seen them before on sale on Steam. And it's like, I just don't know, because once you play 3, can you really go back to 1 and 2?
Even disagreeing about what we're talking about tonight. Well, again, I never played Fallout 1 and 2. I can't confirm or deny anything anyone is saying here tonight. Lady Charisma says nuking Shady Sands would be nuking Washington, D.C. It would be messed up badly. The line of command would be destroyed. Ongoy Smacker, whatever that means, says, do you think Liberty Prime would be in the show? No. I don't think so. We're not, I mean, maybe seasons and seasons forward, right? But I don't think Liberty Prime is going to magically show up on the West Coast. Liberty Prime's on the East Coast. And it broke down anyway at the end of Fallout 3. They'd have to rebuild it.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a gamer, dude.
Where would the Fallout show rate on my best list of TV
no
shows?
Tonight.
The thing is, I'm not going to rate a show from the 2000s to a show from 2024. You know, that's not fair. What I will say is, definitely this is my favorite video game show I've ever seen. And this is probably one of my favorite shows of the last 5 years that I've watched, of anything I've even watched. And that includes shows like The Boys and Invincible and stuff like that. This is better than that, I feel. Like, it's that well written. It's that well acted. It's got good effects. It's got interesting plot development. It's a really good show. That final episode, again, makes you feel like you are at the end of a 40 to 80 hour RPG journey, and this is the culmination fight that feels like the end of New Vegas, where everything happens at Hoover Dam in the big finale. That's what it feels like, that final episode. It's so well done, and you know, they did just good enough to wrap up enough plot threads so you're satisfied. Then they leave a few plot threads dangling on purpose to get you hungry for season 2, and then the final shot of seeing New Vegas out in the desert, you're like, oh my God, they did it. I can't believe they did it. You get goosebumps. You're like, they actually nailed it. Like, that's how you end a season 1.
Piggy bumps for you.
Cypress TV says, I think we will see NCR remnants in New Vegas when season 2 starts. Am I missing something? What makes people feel we won't? I don't know. If you just watched the show and you had not played the games, the show makes it seem like the NCR has been completely wiped out. Like, that nuke that blew up Shady Sands, that was it. That just was the end of NCR, because there's no formal NCR presence. There's a few people who have NCR uniforms. There's the remnants of the MCR Moldova is commanding, but there's no formal MCR anywhere to be seen.
DSP, we're still kind of waiting for that review.
Major place.
You just said it was your favorite, but
this California region, and they're just gone. So it makes you feel
You
like
said it
they're
was your
gone.
favorite
But
out
maybe
of
it is a bait and switch.
video
And it's
game
bullshit.
shows.
Who
Well,
knows?
there's not
We
a
don't
lot
know
of video
yet.
game shows out there except for like Halo and Last of Us. I guess the Sonic and Mario
Norm's
cartoon
character arc
shows.
you're excited about the younger brother, says Clay JT. So Norm is the brother of Lucy, who gets stuck in Vault 31 when he discovers the truth about everything. That basically the overseers are Vault Tech employees and they're all cryogenically frozen. And he goes into Vault 31, he finds them all frozen, but then the door closes and he's stuck in there. So season 2 will probably be more about his story, how he if he ever gets out, what happens in the vaults. Because remember, the big culmination was they were going to do a split of the population between Vault 32 and Vault 33. And that was like the next social experiment they were going to perform on them down there.
Never really explained the why
I
they
think
do all
there'll
these
be
stupid
aliens.
ass
I mean, they could
experiments.
go that route. Although the Alien DLC is just a one-off DLC, the aliens are canon to the Fallout universe. It's just that they're never really involved in any of the major plot threads. It's more like a DLC what-if silly situation, right? Lady Charisma asks, with The Last of Us and now Fallout, things like the Mario and Sonic movie getting praised, do you think shows and movies based on video games will get a fair shake? I hope so. I want more like Fallout. I want less
So you
like
can
The
sit
Last
here
of
and do
Us,
nothing.
where the only good thing is because they copy-pasted from the games, and the things they changed, all
You
right,
want more
are no good.
Games and
Literally
TV
every
shows and
change
movies so
they
you can
made
sit
to
here and
The
do
Last of
absolutely
Us
fucking nothing
TV
all
show
night.
sucked. It was for the worst. Would have been better if it was just left to be the games. But because it was the games, you didn't have any sense of suspense, any sense of real risk, because it was shit that already happened in the games. It just makes the show kind of superfluous. It does. It just makes it like, well, it was necessary to convert it to a TV show. Well, it wasn't. It was actually better as a game. You know? Here's one thing I wanted to say all night, and I keep forgetting about it, okay? Because people keep asking me this question. Is the Fallout TV show woke? All right? I'm going to answer that question for you. All right? The Fallout TV show manages to have representation of characters in it. And it does it in a way where those characters are represented as normal people. Allow me to explain what I mean. Okay? Maximus is black. It doesn't matter that he's black. There's no plot thread that he's black. He's just black. And he's a strong, well-written character, well-acted. It's never mattering what his skin color he is. You understand? Maximus has a friend in the Brotherhood, his fellow trainee, squire in training, who's trans. But the character is trans. It's not a plot point. You don't need to hear the origin story of the character of why they're trans, right? It's literally never brought up or addressed. They're just trans. It's not a big deal. The character is well written, well acted, just a part of the universe, just a normal person, and it's never really brought up as anything big. And because of that, it works. Okay? You can have this kind of representation.
He was chewing his fingers every time he saw Maximus on
any kind
screen.
of a show, and as long as it's not brought up to be some major focus and plot point that everyone must now spend an entire segment or big chunk of an episode focused on, right? As long as it's just something natural in the universe, just like normal people. Let's be honest. Right now, around us, we have people who are straight and gay. We have people who are male, female, and trans. We have people who are black, white, Asian, every denomination. We're all just normal, right? We don't make it some big song and fucking dance because they're different. So why do they have to kind of do this in games and in, TV shows? I mean, in Last of Us 2, of course there has to be a plot point that someone doesn't like the gender they are. So now they've been completely, excommunicated from the group and the group want them dead. It's like, why? Why can't they just be a normal person? Right? Why does the plot have to be that they're persecuted for being different? Haven't we seen that 5 zillion times? Isn't that tired at this point? In this show, they actually just have people of all...
Isn't good guy saves the girl and wins the day a tired plot point, yet they still do it to this day?
all representations in the show. No one cares because that's how it should be. Is it not that what we want is true acceptance? That everyone could just be themselves and be happy to be who they are, and it's not a big deal? And this show does exactly that. That's what we need more of. True representation where people are just part of normal life, and it doesn't have to be sticking out like a sore thumb, shoved up your face. Oh my God, we have to have a fucking big elaborate
Shoved up your face?
backstory
What
and
the hell kind
sob
of saying
story
is
of
that?
this and that, of how they were mistreated. Just have them be a normal person, and no one will care. We'll all accept it all. It's fine. And this show did that. So who cares who was represented or what. No, it's not even a thing of contention. It's just naturally in there. Good. Have more like that. I don't care. I don't give two shits. I've always said this. I don't care who the protagonist of a game is. Why do I care if you're male, female, somewhere in between, gay, straight, what skin color, where you come from, what language you speak? Why the fuck would I care? I don't care if you're purple with yellow polka dots on you. As long as you're a good, well-written character that has a plot arc that I like, character development, good story, good character beats, and that's all I care about. I don't care about any of that other shit. Why should anybody? Anyone who hangs on that shit is an idiot. It's just such not a thing to focus on anymore. You know what I mean? But as long as it's done right, and this show does it right, I have zero complaints whatsoever about any representation in this show because there is representation and it's done well. It's not obnoxious. So do more like that. Stop being obnoxious, and then maybe, just maybe, people won't care about the representation anymore. The problem is you got the Neil Druckmanns of the world.
Really?
Okay? And the Neil Druckmanns of the world, sadly, want to make those things shoved in your face. In fact, Neil Druckmann wants to sell product to you as a basis because he has that kind of representation in his games and shows. He doesn't Last of Us 2. A sale of Last of Us 2 sticks it to the haters. It's like, that's not why people should buy your game, you fucking oaf. You stupid primitive ape. You should not be fucking saying shit like that to the public. It should be, buy my game because it's the best game out there. Buy my game because we put so much effort into it and it's the most accessible game ever made. Instead, buy my game because of representation. You're a jackass. And that's the person who sets the shit back. Really. Someone like Druckmann sets shit back. The Fallout TV show advances things forward.
Once again, show me on a dot where Neil Druckmann hurt you.
That's my take. Okay. Excuse me. I just wanted to get that out of the way because so many people ask me that question about, oh, isn't it woke? I'm not going to watch the show because it's woke. You can watch the fucking show. Trust me. You're not going to be ripping your hair out. It's not like that. Okay?
You ain't going to have much hair left to rip out there.
Okay. So, guys, we've now been talking 2 hours about the Fallout TV show. Final thoughts on anyone? I'm going to give you my final summarized thoughts in a sec. Does anyone have any final questions? Any things they want to bring up? Anything they want to say about the show before we get ready to adjourn?
You just spent 2.5 hours summarizing the show.
Get something off your chest. Any last second contributions if you want. Not asking for anything. You just if you're interested.
You're asking, Mr. $18 in tips.
The Vault episode with the mutants was a funny episode. They messed up their nice place. Yeah, that was the ultimate trick, because there's a whole episode based in a vault. All right, where Lucy and Maximus get taken into a vault, and at first they think everything's good, but then they notice everyone around them is mutated in some weird way. They've got body parts growing out of the wrong places. They got gills. They glow. It's like, what is going on here? Then they find a lab with all these mutations in it, and they think, oh my God, this is like a place of horrible experimentation. And I'm not going to spoil, but basically there's a big plot twist where it turns out it's nothing like what they thought it was, and it's a hilarious end, and it's really well written. Again, it's well written. It's like, what the heck, man?
This entire stream has been nothing but spoilers. Why are you going to hide the spoilers now?
Do I think Lorenzo will be in the show? He's immortal, and he can make other people immortal? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know who that is.
Was he one of the companions in
cameo to show up in season 2? Who would it be? Like if someone had showed up in season 2 from what? New Vegas? Well, the thing is, we know House is in it, right? Like my fascination now is if this takes place over 20 years after the New Vegas game, what is the state of New Vegas? We left New Vegas where you had the Kings in a certain way, you had the Omertas and the White Glove Society. I think that's what they're called. And basically, what you had to do in New Vegas was win over all those. Either you had to ally with them or destroy them. Right? You had to set up New Vegas for new leadership, whether it's you with Yes Man, whether it's Mr. House, whether it's the NCR, or whether it's Caesar's Legion. So what's left, right? After if Todd Howard is saying this is canon, which again, I don't think it's exactly canon, but if it's canon, right? I wonder what's going to happen in that plot. When you get back to New Vegas, what's the state of New Vegas? Is it just completely dominated by Mr. House's robots now, and 100% it's all him running everything? Are the families still there in some capacity? Is it the same families in charge? Right? What about the Von Graffs? Remember?
Hey,
Weapons family?
how's it
Are
going?
they still around? Will they be a part of the plot? Or are they just kind of written out? Who knows? You know, it'll be interesting to see what's in there and what's not. Do I want one particular character from New Vegas to be in it? I mean, it would be nice to see some references. I don't think we need to have direct characters showing up. Only because, once again, if you have original characters as your plot, you can do whatever you want with them, right? If you have characters in here from New Vegas, now, well, wait, what's the implications of this character now being in the show, even though they were in New Vegas? You got people who are going to be doing these giant, again, the lore masters of YouTube, who all they do is fucking lore videos on games. They're going to have fucking conspiracy theory whiteboards behind them. So what if this is there? This is, wait, I don't understand this and they get so crazy about that shit. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a fucking game and a show. Just
How
have
dare
fun.
they have passion
Whatever
about
happens
something
in life,
and care
you
about
watch
something
to have fun. Right?
You know, DSP,
I
the
guess
only
we
thing you have
lost
passion
that.
care about is
Instead,
WWE
it's got
champions.
everything's got to be hyper analyzed to the point of such maximum seriousness. And can I be honest? It's because YouTube made it that you monetize all that shit. Right? Before that, it was like, wow, it's the obsessive fan. But now on YouTube, you got people who literally microanalyze every game. There's people who microanalyze every pixel of every character in Elden Ring or Dark Souls, and every fucking, piece of dialogue and every document you ever found in the Fallout franchise and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Moving forward. But I don't, I'm not 100% looking forward to directly seeing characters from New Vegas be in the season 2 of this show. I guess we'll see what happens. Okay? Top Off Smoke Puffa says, in the credits, it pans through the streets of New Vegas and shows it's been destroyed with crashed vertigirds and broken Securitrons. It also shows earlier on in one of the credit sequences that New Vegas is completely destroyed. That's why one or two episodes in, people started freaking out, saying this cannot be canon because New Vegas is destroyed or whatever. And it's fucked up that they retconned New Vegas. They didn't retcon New Vegas. The credit sequence isn't necessarily 100% accurate. Okay? I don't think it is. Maybe some people are taking it that way. I don't think it is.
He's not going to take what's on screen in front of him as canon, huh?
The sand scenes reminded you of the desert section of Metro Exodus, says Clay JT. They were pretty well shot.
I say he's stuck at 18,000 tips. He's been there for most of the stream, which is hilarious.
Doesn't the Fallout show turn a blind eye to communism and blame capitalism and America for creating the apocalypse? How is that not woke? Well, did you not watch the show and see that inside the vaults, that Vault-Tec is trying to create a woke society and it's failing? You remember that basically they're like, gee, the only reason the Raiders actually overtook us is because we're so dumb. We just blatantly believe that everyone around us is good, and we didn't see the million signs of that these people were Raiders. They had scars all over their bodies. They weren't acting like vault dwellers. But we're just like, oh, well, we're just ignorant to all of it because everyone accepting everything. And because of that, they're completely overrun and murdered at the beginning of the show. And it's actually referenced later on. We're going to rehabilitate the Raiders who.
Well, I didn't realize that the two characters were divorced.
Rather than, some people actually said, we just want to kill them.
They were divorced? I don't remember
they murdered
that.
our friends. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that.
He's directly doing this job to pay for his alimony. Wow, I missed that. Yeah, because you're too busy drinking.
And again, much like the real games, all right, there's not meant to be a 100% this is right, this is wrong attitude. It's up for you to subjectively judge. Do you think that Moldaver's group was in the right? Do you think the Brotherhood is more in the right? Do you think that Vault-Tec is actually in the right? Do you think that, you know what I'm saying? Or are all of them wrong? Maybe every single group is wrong. So maybe the communist take, the capitalist take, they're all wrong. That's for you to judge. That's the beauty of Fallout. That's actually the beauty of Fallout.
I don't know how uncomfortable the one scene with the gay couple in.
They're all
That's
flawed.
what the show made him.
They're all just trying to survive in their own way. That's good writing right there. That it's not a black and white situation. You know what I mean? What's up, Game Boy? Good evening. Good to have you here at the end here. Only a few more minutes and we'll wrap it up. I'm just curious, does anyone have any final words or things to say? And then I'll give you my final thoughts on the show and we'll wrap it up for the night. Okay?
God, just 2.5 hours of rambling and synapses and summary, but no actual review. Why did we think it would be anything else with DSP?
No, I'm not going to even comment about building a wall around the wasteland and making the wastelanders pay for it. Maybe the followers of the apocalypse will make an appearance. I mean, they're a lesser known group, right? They're a lesser known group. They were prominent in New Vegas, I wonder. Or was it New Vegas or was it 3? It was Fallout 3, was it not? Fallout 3? It was refreshing to see a show that wasn't jam-packed full of sexual content every episode like Game of Thrones and many others, don't you think? I feel like it was balanced well. I do. I feel like it was balanced well. They didn't overdo any. I would say the one thing you can argue is the gore
that's
was
hilarious,
very excessive,
Dev Kit.
but the game also is excessive in gore. I don't really feel like it was too overdone in any direction, right? There was some romance, but it was done kind of tastefully. There was some sexual content, but it was never over the top, too much in your face. There was a lot of gore, but that's kind of par for the course for the games. Ice Darkness says, I'm surprised you didn't talk about one of the leaders in the past was Big MT. What are you talking about? One of the people at the desk?
Holy shit, he was not paying
of
attention
the
at all.
Corporations? Big MT, like Big Mountain for the expansion from Fallout 3? Is that what you're talking about?
Guys, tell me what happened in the show that I just watched.
It was Vault Tech, Robco, like West Tech, which I think was supposed to be like an Asian corporation that I guess is referenced in the games, but I don't think it's in any of the ones I've played. And there was Big MT, so I guess I didn't catch that, and it didn't get referenced.
He didn't catch Big MT because
That's
he
a new Vegas
wasn't
expansion,
paying
the Big MT
attention.
expansion. That's right, Big MT. It's the big crater, right? Yeah, I didn't notice that. West Tech designed the power armor. Is that true? Felix, the main things they should explore the planet and show different places on Earth for season 2. I mean, they could go East Coast and then get to plot lines over there, but I mean, people would be pretty pissed if they just abandoned these characters that you just got to know and see. You know, the thing about this show was the plot arcs were really good. Lucy, completely different person, right? Maximus, completely different person. The Ghoul, although you can argue he's kind of the same guy, you've seen his plot arc because you realize the Ghoul in present day is completely different from who the Ghoul was in the past, right? So his plot arc had already happened. You're just seeing the outcome of that as who he is in the show today, right? So basically, I think those plot arcs are great. Do you really now want to just throw those characters away for the sake of having a season 2 somewhere else? I don't think so. I think people are going to want those characters back, right? Repcon was there too, but Robco owned them. I don't know why they were there. And then Seven Star Samurai says Robco bought Repcon right after that meeting. This is hilarious. The lore is wild. You guys are crazy about the lore of this stuff. You are. Way more than me. Like, I like the lore.
You guys paid attention. How dare you?
I'm not one of these people who, like, has a timeline on my fucking wall figuring all this shit out. I know there's probably 7,000 videos like that already all over the internet, right?
People who actually care about the games, huh?
Do I think Lucy is a Mary Sue like Rey from Star Wars? Yes, but that's the point. The point is that there's a whole generation of Vault Tech people who are like that. It wouldn't just be her. It could have been anyone from the Vault who was thrown to the surface and would have acted the same way, right?
Confirmed, really.
And that's kind of the interesting point of the character. In this lore, it fits. Maybe it doesn't fit.
No,
maybe in Star Wars it was out of place, right? Or redone, because they already done that with Luke in the first Star Wars, A New Hope, right? But in this case, this makes sense. This 100% fits what you would want in the story, because that's exactly how a Vault Dweller would act when they hit the surface and saw what the wasteland was like, right? I mean, that's how they've been raised. That's their whole life. That's all they know.
I say she's not perfect except for one flaw,
All
like
right.
being
Well,
clumsy.
guys,
She's
I
not
think
a
we're
Mary
going
Sue.
to wrap this up. And I basically want to say thank you for a great
for
stream
18,000
here tonight.
tips.
Everyone here. The
I
first
can't
hour,
wait
I was
for
blabbing. This
that,
whole second
daily
over an hour
rap.
has been great with the interaction. I want to say thanks to anyone who supported. My final thoughts on the Fallout TV show. This is how you make a video game adaptation to another form of media. You respect the source material, you expand upon it, rather than just regurgitating it in another medium like they did with The Last of Us season, which was fucking terrible compared to this, because it was the same shit. This is something unique and different and interesting, but it's in the same spirit, the same lore. It's not lore crushing like the Halo TV show that just bastardizes the fucking material for the sake of making a show. Instead, it respects all that time
You got to do it
and
for
love
my
and attention that you have
GN.
invested in the Fallout series up to now. You get fan service in the show that is completely missed by people who haven't played the games, but well appreciated by those of us who have, right? And because they decided to make this in the future of the plot, it's the latest thing happening in the Fallout plot or plot line. It allows it to be meaningful and now tie into things from the past, but actually be suspenseful and interesting. If they had made this a prequel story, it would have been awful. Awful. It would have been so meaningless. I'm so happy they didn't do that. All right? And even with the lore changes they made, oh no, the ghouls are different. Oh no, now maybe the date is wrong on the NCR bombs dropping and this and that. It's still cool, right? Like, it's still great. It's still a great show. For fans of the franchise or not, you're really going to enjoy the show. But if you're a fan of the franchise, man, you got a treat ahead when you watch this show. And that ending of season 1, like I said, one of the best endings I have ever seen for the first season of a show. I am hooked. I am riveted. I cannot wait for season 2 and see how it's going to turn out in New Vegas. Whether it's completely from left field, we're not expecting, whatever it is, it's new. And that's the key. It's new and refreshing and exciting again. And let's be honest, we are not going to get anything new of Fallout for a very long time. We're going to get a little, maybe DLC content in this Fallout 4 update. But outside of that, we got our thumbs stuck up our butts, man. Because Bethesda won't make another game. This is our content. This will be our feast of Fallout for the next several years. If they make more seasons, this is all we've got. It's going to take them so long to basically do another game that this is what we've got. And I'm happy. I love this show, and I want to see it get tons of seasons. I want to see it get mainstream popular. You know what I really want to see? I want to see this show do so well that Bethesda has to make another Fallout. Or Bethesda has to contract another studio like Obsidian to make another Fallout. Because enough of their nonsense of not knowing how to make games anymore, they have become too big and too bloated, and they don't know what they're doing. If it takes them 10, 15 years to pump out a game, nobody cares anymore. They screwed up. You need to be able to make games in a reasonable amount of time when the interest is here. Why is there no Fallout content right now to tie in to this game? It doesn't even make sense.
There probably should have been
what the hell they're
Fallout
doing.
content ready to go.
He's a jackass.
I do agree
at
with
this
that.
point. He looks so dumb. They've got to do something to turn this around. This is their chance.
There definitely should have been something
ready to go.
ready
Let's
to
see
go.
multiple seasons of this show. Let's see it grow. Let's see it be exciting. And then let's see new games in the future that hopefully tie in with it and make it good, right? All right, guys, that is it. That is my live review of the Fallout TV show. I hope you enjoyed it. Whether you were here live or if you
2.5
watch
hours
this
of
on
rambling,
demand,
5
I
minutes of
certainly hope that you
review.
enjoyed it equally. And I certainly hope that you guys will join me in the future for Fallout content. I'm strongly considering playing Fallout 4, or at least starting a playthrough of Fallout 4 again when this update comes out in a little over a week, especially if it has some new content. That sounds pretty exciting. We'll have to see. But in the meantime, I thank you all. Thank you so very much for watching my review of the Fallout TV show. And if you liked this, let me know. Please leave comments on these videos and let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy this or not? It's a new project for me. It's something totally different. And I want to know, content for this channel. I'm trying to get more. If you like this and you want to see more of this, I could do this for other medium. It doesn't have to be just TV shows. So leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you all. See you later.
Run away, run away.
Okay. That was a lot of talking, guys. I do want to say thanks, despite the fact that you guys look and say, oh, Phil made almost nothing tonight. It's actually false. We got tons of super chats tonight, and we got a couple of memberships too. So that's actually going to overall help this channel, which that's the point. I'm trying to get this channel to have more content so it's viable to do stuff on this channel. Right now, I only have one show a week that I do on this channel. So this did, I'd argue this did pretty good. Again, I'm curious how the videos will perform. People actually watch them, enjoy them. I don't know. We'll find out, okay? All right, so guys, that is it. I'm out of here. Tomorrow, I'm off from streaming. So do not expect me on stream tomorrow, because if you show up, I will not be here, okay? I'll be back on Friday over on the DSP Gaming channel like usual. It'll be the Level 1 podcast. It'll be more fun Helldivers 2. It'll be Friday Night Fights, more Blanca and Street Fighter 6. Okay? Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And thanks for chilling with me here tonight. And I think it is time to get the hell out of here, because I'm beat. All right, everyone. Thank you so
He's
much.
beat from sitting there
Have a
talking about the
good
game. That's
Thursday.
it.
I'll see you
That's
all
all
on
he
Friday.
fucking did was
Peace
talk
out.
about the fucking game, and he's beat. Guys, you need to go take a nap now. Holy shit, DSP. Mind you, he's going to be awake till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, playing WWE Champions and drinking. Ah, fucking hell. I'm glad he only got $18 in tips. I said I definitely should have had some, like, an announcement of, like, hey, Fallout 1 and 2 are being remade or remastered. And coming to consoles for the first time ever. Like, that would have been a huge announcement to make in tie-in for the Fallout show. But I am kind of surprised that they had nothing ready to go for that. But with that, guys, even with my nap, I'm starting to get tired, so I'm going to have to let you go. Yes, that being remastered would be awesome. A little bad that I missed David Walker Jr.'s comments. He left thinking I was ignoring him. I did not mean to ignore him, though. I have no way of getting a hold of him on here, do I? I do not. Oh, well. Yeah, he got low priority for like 45 minutes because he kept quitting out of games because they're trolling me. How are they trolling you? The guy's name is Raptor1651. How the fuck is that a troll? Please, DSP, please explain to Capcom why Raptor1651 is a troll. And how it's so offensive and so scummy. As long as nothing pops up or happens, I should be playing going back to Pillars of Eternity 2 tomorrow. But with that, thank you guys for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have one hell of a day. Oh, what the fuck was that? Oh. Now what did I do to this? Terrible. There we go. Wonder how I messed with that. See you guys.